Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CryptoTraders Room, which majority of you know that it's a place where we eat, drink, sleep, dream, trade, and invest in digital currencies. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification so you're notified every time a video is uploaded or I schedule a live stream. And you can also connect with us on our website and sign up for our mailing list, which you will get a free access to our general chat room. And there are links at the bottom of this video, or you can just go to CryptoTradersRoom.com. As well as connect with us on Steam, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And before we get started, just a little disclaimer, and that's to let everybody know that I am not a licensed financial advisor, and what I do talk about in these videos or live stream is not to be used as trading advice, and to please do your own due diligence and do your own research before investing your money. And if that is the type of information you're looking for, I will not be able to help you out in the sense of your portfolio. And this information is just only be taken as educational and only educational purposes. So with that being said, welcome to whoever's joining in the room. And if you're new, don't be shy, say what's up. But hopefully everybody's having a great Wednesday. But let's take a look and see exactly what's going on today in this market. Of course, Ethereum Classic. That's something I've been kind of waiting for it to take off. But we'll definitely cover that because I did cover that the past 2 days. And we drew out some support and resistance. And she definitely blew through that resistance that she was really having a hard time getting over. And when she did blow through it, she blew through it with a vengeance. And it wasn't something that she just kind of touched and then, got retraced right back down. But overall market cap, let me refresh this because I'm sure it kind of went up recently within the past probably 2-3 seconds. 101.5 billion. So broke over that 100 billion market cap, and I wish I could remember, a month ago what the market cap was, but to be honest with you, I have no clue. But BTC 45.7% dominance. It's really Bitcoin and Ethereum that are really dominating. Over $80 billion in market cap combined. I'm sorry, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Ripple. Those three combined, they have over 80 billion. So the rest of the altcoins are definitely lagging in the sense of carrying their weight in the sense of the market cap. But really, once these alts start to pick up, 150 billion, 200 billion is definitely in sight by end of year, in my honest opinion. But the alts got to definitely pick up steam and start getting pumped and getting up to the upside in order for for us to hit really that 150 to 200 billion market cap. Geek Me Good, welcome, buddy. I'm glad you're finding this live stream informative. Not a problem, man. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I love seeing new names on the chat. There's definitely a lot of people that join, but a lot of them are kind of shy. And but they'll open up later on the more they join. But thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. But yeah, those three are basically dominating in the sense of market cap. They're really taking over, and I can just see hopefully if Ripple gets back up to that 43.50 cents. This market cap is definitely going to increase huge, but we'll see, how big of a dominance BTC is going to have. As long as BTC is going up, the dominance will still stay there. But BTC is lagging and the alts are catching up, then we'll definitely see that dominance percentage kind of decrease. But overall kind of picture on Crypto Watch, BTC is down 1.7%. That's really nothing. We did have that little minor correction when I got off the live stream yesterday, and I wish I was actually on it to kind of talk about it. But that's usually what happens when I get off the live stream. Something happens where it either goes up or starts to go down. But yeah, Ethereum is down. There's a lot that's down. ETC is up 6%, so that's kind of good. And that's kind of what I was looking for. So we'll definitely be covering that. Rep, of course, has just been performing outstanding, and for it to be 37.50, that's huge. We haven't really seen a major correction with that yet. Just one correction that when everything fell, it came down to 13 bucks. But Ripple 27 cents. Doji still kind of lagging. ZCASH impressive. I think it was 280 that I just kind of recently saw it. So it's definitely dominating over Dash. And it's the price of it really just completely outweighing what Dash currently is, when it was the complete opposite not long ago. Even though Dash is hitting all-time high at almost 52 bucks, Zcash is just completely taken off. 300 is definitely in sight, maybe more, but we'll see. I just can't believe that Zcash is really even outperforming Ethereum currently at the moment. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum Classic. I'm still holding that 150 position. I wish I had more. But let's kind of go back a little bit. And this is the same chart that I've had a while ago. And I'm actually going to draw. Let me put one more arrow right at that spot that I got rejected yesterday, and it was almost twice that I kind of got rejected. Try to hit that, so well, it did really touch the 750 before kind of getting rejected back down, and it gave up $1 after that rejection. So there were really, basically 2 points. So we'll just put 2 arrows there, because there were really 2 spots that it did attempt to kind of have a nice breakout above it. And unfortunately, that's what happens. It touches these resistant points and then kind of gets rejected. But yeah, right at those 2 level points right there. So let's go ahead and enlarge this a little bit. And let's just take a look at the RSI. RSI 51.4, not bad at all for it. I don't know why this chart's not cooperating the way I want it to. All right, so a couple different points, where we talked about the support, the main support that it basically had, and of course that resistance of 750, and that 750 was pretty strong, considering it was about 3 times that it got rejected, and then once it did attempt these extra 2 times, it got rejected again. So that should actually be red because it got rejected from that. It shouldn't be green, so we'll make it a red arrow. But today, once it really pulled back down from hitting that 1750, it pulled down to 1637. So it gave up, a little more than $1. And that's really a nice retracement if anybody was looking for a nice little pullback to be able to take an entry in. It wasn't going to get to the 14 bucks that I'm looking for, and then I'm kind of still waiting for if I want to take more of a position. But we're looking at basically, what is this? I think 15-minute candlestick. Yes, 15-minute candlestick. So when she did break out, she broke out very well, and it just wasn't a little bit of a break for it to kind of retrace right back down where short sellers would kind of take it. This is where basically buyers were just buying everything up. And then, I'm assuming that, once the buyers kind of saw, the short sellers, once they saw that the buying side was really stacking up at that price level, they probably started covering. And when they cover, of course, they got to start buying in, and that fuels the fire to the upside. And that's exactly what she did. I mean, this is just a beautiful candle, the breakout above 1750, where there was really no retracement. So, the high was basically the closing price. There was no wick at that top at all. Yes, the opening price of the next candlestick, it did open below its closing price, but it did go up with a vengeance and close, probably 3/4 of the way below its high of 1858. So for it to kind of go up $1 within 2 candlesticks, that's pretty impressive, and that shows me that there is going to be a good amount of volatility in this today, and hopefully we get a nice move to the upside of at least 20. It's got to push to 20 and maintain that 20 in order to have any type of move for it to get to that all-time high and possibly break that all-time high. We could have easily 100%, a 60% gainer in Ethereum Classic. I mean, she's done it before, so there's no reason that she can't do it again. It's been there, it's been done. So let's see on the buying and the selling side. A lot of sellers are stacked up. 18,000 on the sell side, about 3.5, 3,500, 4,000. Keep switching back and forth on the buying side. But let's take a look at the full order book and just to kind of see if there's anything suspicious out there where we kind of draw an alarm and say, okay, this is where it's going to stop at, because sellers are just stacked up, or 1 or 2 sellers might be stacked up. And the nice thing about Bitfinex that I do like is that it does tell me how many buyers or sellers are stacked up on a specific price point. So 10,000, that's not going to really draw too much of an alarm. It's 1 seller selling 10,000 at 1845. Another 10,000 at 1876. And these are all one seller. So the seller could be really spreading his exit out just to kind of not draw an alarm. But yet to have even 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Let's see how many of them are spread out. 10,001. Yeah, I mean, if I had a 50,000 Ethereum Classics, that's exactly what I would be doing. I wouldn't put them all at once at one price point. I would spread them out just so I don't have people hopping in over top of me to trying to get out before I do. But let's see, nothing really suspicious except for that 10,000 kind of spread out. Nothing, in the 50 to 100,000 that I'm kind of have my eyes out on to see, okay, what, that price level could be an issue, possibly, depending if the buyers are going to step in and support it at that price point. So let's see, what's this, 24, so that's pretty high up there. But yeah, we got 12 sellers at $24 for 14,173 Ethereum Classics. So that's on the selling side. So nothing, that would draw an alarm for it to not really get up to that all-time high, unless somebody's sitting on the sideline and kind of waiting to dump what they have. But that high of 2375, we got about 688 Ethereums that are looking to be sold at that high, and that's one person. So I'll definitely have to keep an eye out on that, because that really is all-time high, and somebody has 688 to get rid of. That's close to that 1,000, so it would draw some sort of alarm to see if they're going to move it or if they're going to keep it on there. More likely, it's a real wall, even though it's even though it's only 688. Oh, I shouldn't say only. I mean, that's a lot of coins. Times the price of $18. But we'll have to keep an eye and see if anybody hops in on top of him, or they try to get over him and get out, before it hits that 2275. 2275.9 is what that person's looking to kind of get out. Let's take a look at the buying side. And I'm hoping you guys can hear me, so if you can, please let me know. All right, on the buying side, 15,000, good support at 1785. What is the current price of this now? Right around 1822, 1816. So 15,000, one buyer. So we know at least there is some sort of support where it's not going to crash back down below 1750. 15,000 is a pretty good amount to be buying as one person. Another 10,000 right above that at 17.851. So that's 25,000. That's just kind of sitting there to give it a nice support in the 1783, 1785 range. 10,000 is 1746. Another 10,000, 10,000. And then all the other ones could be bots. We got tons of point twos, a lot of point twos. So those could be bots. So we'll see if bots will actually start getting in this action, especially when it starts going up to the upside. But as of right now, they're kind of just sitting there, not making much of a dent. But yeah, nothing above 15 on the support side. So this could have a nice run today. But yeah, she's got to start breaking some key level points in order for it to get right back up to that 2275, somewhere in that range there. But yeah, we're going to be taking a look at this very closely today, considering it is really one of the only ones that's making a nice move to the upside. Where everything else, well, not everything else, but with the majority of the altcoins, BTC, LTC, and Ethereum are down for the moment. But ETC seems to be carrying a little bit of weight, and up 4.62%. So she could have an impressive move today. But I guess it all depends too what BTC is going to be doing. So hopefully, when BTC does recover, that Ethereum Classic will actually move up to the upside with it as well too. Tracy, welcome. Audio's good. That's awesome. And yeah, my daughter's happy. Well, she's not really happy, I guess. She's not. She's done with preschool, so she's home with me a lot and not going to school. So she loves going to school. She wants to go to school 7 days a week, basically. But yeah, we got her involved. She's going to be getting involved in a couple activities in the summer, so that'll keep her occupied. But yeah, hope you're doing well on this Wednesday morning or evening, wherever you're located. And yeah, guys or ladies, please let me know where you're located. I'm always curious to find out where all the viewers are from, because we got people from all over the world, basically. BAT, I covered it yesterday, but yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it. And I still do have a position in Ethereum in Litecoin, so I'm currently down 0.9%, about $85, a little under $85 that I'm currently down. Not too much of a worry though. I think this will make a move once BTC starts to recover, and 3180 is kind of the goal where I'll be looking at locking a little bit of the profit, because I know at that 3180 she is having a hard time, and she has been rejected a couple times. So I'm looking, take a look at the chart there and see how many times she's been rejected. But we got a good amount on the buying side. Buyers are definitely stacked up, as long as it's real buyers that are stepping in. I know some of the orders are kind of disappearing and moving around. So the faster they move around, we kind of have an idea that it's some sort of a bot that's trying to control the price action, price movement. Especially, if they're moving around, 1100. So I'm keeping an eye out on this 1150 right here. to see if it actually fluctuates and moves rapidly within the order book. And if it is moving rapidly, we know that's not human or an actual physical trader that's doing this, because they're not that fast. But with bots, they can definitely move their orders around within a fraction of a second, a millisecond. So we'll see what Litecoin has, but she definitely has more move to the upside, and that's why I'm still holding on to it. It hasn't really followed that path of Ethereum and Bitcoin, and once it does really start following that path, really I think that $35 is in sight. Once she really breaks out above 32, so 32 is kind of the goal for it to break out, to have a nice upward momentum move. To start making possibly new highs after hitting 35, and then really 38 and change was the all-time high. So Ethereum Classic is just pulling back a little bit, profit taken. That's completely normal. It's going to happen. We need it. It's healthy. But as long as she stays above, that 1750 and forms a 1750 as a new support line, it was a prior resistance. It was a hard resistance 5 times it got rejected. So as long as it forms a new support line at that 1750, we'll still be good for a move up to at least that $20 or get close to that $20. Giki from Berlin, welcome. Yeah, Dr. 10, he hasn't been on this in a while, but he's from Germany somewhere. Via London. Yeah, we got a couple of people from the UK. Tracy's from Texas. Yeah, my business partner, ECS. I'm sure he's probably live streaming this. He doesn't have internet on his phone. He doesn't have internet yet, but he's from Texas as well too. Wisconsin, welcome. The Dubai Review, welcome. Yeah, what I would recommend is clicking that post notification, and you'll definitely be notified. I try to schedule these live streams at least, a good 45 minutes to an hour before the live stream goes on, unless it's kind of a spur of the moment type of live stream like I did yesterday, where it was at least, I think half hour before the live stream started, I scheduled it. So click on that post notification, and YouTube should, and that's usually the magic word, they should notify you that I've scheduled a live stream. But welcome to Dubai Review. All right, let's take a look at BAT. Somebody did ask me to take a look at BAT. And with that, we're not going to have much of a data. So it's going to be very hard to kind of form a very good probability of what it might do, because anytime an ICO is listed, yeah, they'll start out high and they'll come crashing down, and they'll just keep crashing down and find a nice level. So it's going to be very hard to determine what that level is until we actually see more of the data, see more of the price action movement. But until we see that, it's going to be tough. My probabilities are probably going to be very slim, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is a very good example, and I'm not saying that this is a turnaround for it. I'm not at all. But if you've been watching something and you've been following, one of your favorite altcoins, you guys should definitely have a handful of altcoins that you definitely do follow on a regular basis. You might not be in that trade, but you do monitor the chart. You do look at it. You look at the patterns and things like that. Because the more that you look at something for a longer period of time, the more familiar that you're going to get with that chart pattern, and really with the pattern of that cryptocurrency. What does it do? You'll have a good idea what it does if you just look at the chart on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take a position in it. But if I was taking a position in something, this is kind of the pattern that I would look for. I would look to see that it has come down, and I don't try to catch a falling knife. And to catch a falling knife, I mean, you're basically just it's fallen, and you're just trying to get an entry, and it's hard to find what that bottom is, and for yourself to get a very good entry. Because it hasn't indicated anything to you that it's turning around and that sellers have exhausted everything that they're selling, and that there is possibly going to be a turnaround. So in order for me to determine that, I kind of wait for it to level out, kind of wait for it to start to curl up to the upside to indicate, okay, you know what, this might be the turnaround. It's 50-50. It might not. It might turn against you. It might be kind of a fake out. But, as you can see, it came down and it just kind of curved a little bit, and it really dropped to, what it dropped to 7,600 Satoshis. And this is on a half hour, 30-minute candlesticks that we're looking at. So each candlestick represents a half hour's worth of price movement. So we can see that basically she touched 7,600, but when she touched it, she just didn't really keep falling. She kind of leveled out. And when she leveled out, you can kind of see that the gradual move to the upside just slowly. And that's kind of the curl that I kind of look for to give me some sort of an indication. What, is this possibly a turnaround? Is it possibly where, a spot that I can possibly make, 10 or 15%, and then sell it? That's something that I do look at. But we'll look at the overall overall chart, which is not much at all. All right, so basically, yeah, she had that run. If anybody got an entry and was able to kind of capture that bottom of that support, and the support would have been somewhere right around here, where these two candlesticks kind of violently came down to that 76. What did they come down to? Let's see, 78. 78, so they both touched 78. So if you kind of put in an order for 78, it would definitely got executed because the price point did get down to 76, 7,600 Satoshis, and then kind of started making a move up to the upside and hitting 9,180 Satoshis. So I mean, that's not bad at all. That's a really nice little gain if you're looking to just kind of get in and out and build your BTC and build up a small account that you started out with to something bigger and better. You're not going to do it within a couple of days. I mean, it takes time to do that. It might take 6 months to kind of start out with a very small account and try to build that up to something bigger. But, I mean, this could be a fake out. And exactly, possibly here, I mean, where it did violently come down, but, we didn't really see that gradual, nice curl like we're seeing here. So this is kind of, probably faked out a lot of people that were looking into getting in this long term. So that's why with a lot of these ICOs, unless you really get in, pre-ICO, and you're really getting it for pennies on the dollar, the best thing to do is basically, once it gets listed on an exchange, take the profit and then wait for a dip, because it is going to dip. People that bought in the ICO are going to be looking to take profit. The ones that bought in the beginning, or that bought the majority are probably selling at the top, and then people that bought a little bit are probably selling right after them to cause this price to really come down. But this could be a turnaround. It really could be. Especially the way it's curling to the upside. But, she could hit that possibly resistance of 10,000 and another resistance of possibly 10,800 and pulling back some too. So, but, to go from 7,600 to 10,000, that's a pretty nice profit. I would be happy with that any time of the day. I would not be greedy at all. So it all depends, what your entry was on that. But you never try to catch a falling knife. Just wait for it to settle down. Wait for it to cool off. And it'll basically indicate to you when it's cooling off, because selling will just kind of diminish. Holding red. Yeah, red got pumped yesterday. What did red do today? Yeah, red definitely was pretty impressive yesterday. I gotta refresh this. $112 Satoshis. Yeah, it came down to what, like 55, I think maybe 60, under 60 Satoshis. Yeah, and they're all flagging. Majority of them are flagging. So yeah, so I mean, if you believed in the technology of red, and you read up about it, then yeah, I mean, after it ran up, I wouldn't buy the hype. I would wait for a pullback, and that's exactly what she did. So if anybody chased this thing, especially when it first started pumping and started really chasing it because of the hype, I mean, she came crashing right back down on him. Pumped again, and if anybody chased it again, same thing. She came crashing back down. But as you guys can see, she started to level out and really started to consolidate right in this price range here, right around the 58, give or take, to about 45. So there's a good amount of consolidation. So that would have been a good entry point, to look for, and not to get all in, but to at least have some skin in the game, and to just to kind of see what it would do. And it leveled out, and what do you know, it got pumped again. So, and as you can see, volume definitely picked up too, and that's kind of a true indicator that this is possibly going to be turning around, where volume was somewhat flatline. And as you can start to see, some of these volume bars definitely spiked up, especially the green ones. That's how you know that there's kind of more buying than selling that's going on. So as you see the volume bar increasing, it levels out, it starts to curl. That might be a great opportunity to kind of try to find an entry. But yeah, never chase it. Never buy into the hype, because it's just going to it's going to come back down and bite you. Just be patient with it. And, I always say, let the trade come to you. Don't go chasing it. Monero, yeah, you know what? I'll look at Monero. I do like Monero, and touching 57, coming down to 26, I think. Well, it came down to 26 when Bitcoin fell to 1913 after hitting 55 or 56. But yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it. ETC, yes, Andreas. I am impressed with it. Like I said, it broke out above that 1750. That gave it a hard time, and she's maintaining it. She's staying above it. So even if she comes down to 1750, as long as she finds 1750 as a new support line, I'm so happy with it. You know, it's not gonna cause me to panic at all because it's given back $1.50 from its 1850 to 1750. As long as it forms that new base and this new support for another kind of, you know, run start to the upside. And we know that, you know, she broke the 1750, she got 1850 quick. She can do it again from the 1850 to 20 bucks. You got a 19 cents. Let's see what I was looking at the BTC price. And this is on BAT, I remember. BAT is 29 cents. So yeah, actually 26 cents. 29 cents was a high today. 22 was a low. Yeah, you're still in the profit, and that's always good. It's always good. You can't see the live feed. I don't know, Ralph. What browser are you using? You might want to switch browsers. Try Firefox or Chrome, possibly. Yeah, I think Ethereum Classic is getting ready to go parabolic. I mean, in order for it to really have to be strong, she's got to break above the 20. 1850 was great that it got to it, but she's got to break above 20, form, you know, a new support line at 20, and then yeah, she could definitely break out and hit 25, 30. Ripple, yeah. What was Ripple doing? Yeah, it's just been kind of hovering in that like 27.5 to 28.5 range. We didn't really see too much of a big correction when BTC came down to that 1913, but it's holding the 28, the 27. So that's I don't know. It could be gearing up for something. I just don't know what. But I'm still gonna be calm and kind of let it come to me. And I did kind of increase the price that I want to buy it at to 18,001. But yeah, let's take a look at Monero. Yeah, and if you're new to this live stream, definitely welcome, and don't be shy. You know, say what's up. It's a great community that we got going here. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification, just so you're notified that every time a video is uploaded or every time I schedule a live stream. And then you can also sign up for our mailing list. And by signing up for our mailing list, we will give you access to our free general chat room. And it's a great community to kind of keep the conversation about cryptocurrencies going. And it's there 24/7. So there's people from all over the world, different time zones. So, you know, as the channel grows, there'll always be somebody there chatting, considering we're all from different parts of the world. But also stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And these videos do get uploaded to Steemit. So if you have a Steemit account, definitely check us out and help us out by upvoting the videos. All right, let's see. And you know, one thing I have not done on Monero is I have not really, I mean, I've looked at the chart numerous times, but I've not drawn out any support or resistance. I might have to go to the 1 hour chart. A lot of consolidation. That would have been a perfect opportunity. Yeah, and one rule of thumb is, and it's not always 100%, so, you know, don't take this as a crystal ball for an opportunity to get in. It's an opportunity to kind of get skin in the game, but not to go all in. But the longer that something consolidates, the nice that the uptick is going to be, and that's exactly what a lot of these cryptocurrencies will do. You know, if they're just consolidating for a very long period of time, the longer that they're just consolidating right in that price range, the better the uptick is going to be, and that's exactly what happened here. You know, right from usually about the $40-$41 range, it consolidated for a good amount of time, about 5 days or so, and then it had a really nice uptick to 60 bucks, a little over 60 bucks. All right, sorry about that. I had to mute the microphone. But yeah, so if you really followed Monero and consolidation points, that's a great entry, great time to kind of just get a little skin in the game. You know, to have almost a 50% profit from 41 to, I think she did break above 60, so to 61, 63. Those are pretty nice, and that's really within a couple of days. So if you really got in at the end of that consolidation, you would have only been holding for 2.5 days, something to that extent, to have a 50% gain. So that's really going to be the first area, you know, or at least an area of support is where the consolidation really happened, where the majority of the consolidation happened. And we'll go ahead and put a line there. And these aren't, you know, exact numbers, so, you know, you got to give or take. But we'll go ahead and set it to 41. That's not what I want to do. And we're going to make that red, because, yeah, we don't want it to cross that line. We do not want it to get below 41 bucks. And that's going to be kind of the happy medium for it, because the majority of the consolidation happened, you know, just right above that range. So if she breaks below 41, then we could actually see, you know, it making really new lows. And the next area that I see, and these aren't 100%, so you got to definitely remember that, is really right around the 36.75-ish range. And then right after that, basically, it's going to be another area of consolidation, as well as where it basically formed kind of somewhat of a new support line. And that's going to be right around the $32 range. So about $32. I know it says $32.05, but usually right around the $32. So those are going to be really areas of support that it's going to have if she does decide to break down and break down below that. So if BTC ends up selling off, a lot of the, you know, majority of the popular altcoins, the top 10s are selling off. Yes, of course, you know, it's going to have a sell off as well too. So as long as she maintains those levels or bounces from those levels, we know that's going to be a strong support. And then you really got to look at the, you know, the buy-in that's coming in on the ask and the buy side, and where buyers and sellers are stacked up, what RSI is doing, to kind of determine if that's a, you know, if those points that you plotted out, the probability of them being accurate are very probable. So let's see, where other areas of resistance or support is she going to have? Right around here, and that would be right around the 47, let's just say 47.50-ish. So give or take. So 47.50-ish is going to be the other area, considering, you know, she did break out just a little bit above that here, but then came right back down, and then really didn't break out above it. But when she did break out above it, you know, she broke out above it with a vengeance. But then when she came back down a little bit, she exactly touched that 47.50-ish before making a move to the upside. So we know that is some sort of a support there. And then today, you know, I mean, basically, yeah, considering she did break out above 60, got to 61, 63. The previous high really was the $58.50, let's just say. So she broke out above it, and that could have been due to, you know, people, momentum chasers, and people that, you know, feared missing out that this is possibly going to go up to 100. But what do you know? You know, she pulled back down on him just a little bit. So, you know, the resistance is really not going to be, you know, right at the high of today. It's going to be really where the closing price was, and that closing price was, you know, right around the $58, $59. So we'll just say 58.50, just to kind of be on the safe side. So right, 58.50, and we're going to make that green because we definitely want that to break out above it. And if she breaks out above it, yeah, she could have more of a run. But this is really making, you know, all-time highs. Well, not all-time highs, considering, you know, where she's been, but at least, you know, from crashing down to 26-ish in that range to coming back right back up. But, you know, when BTC fell, you know, if anybody was, I wasn't really looking at this, but when BTC did fall, let's go ahead and enlarge this a little bit, and we'll get rid of the RSI. RSI currently at 52.68. But when she did fall, when BTC actually fell and Ethereum fell, everything fell. She came down to right around 27-ish, 27.56. Let's just say 27.50, and that's a gradual. That's a drop. That is a drop for it. And if you were able to catch that drop and have a position or some sort of skin in the game, you would definitely reward it. But we'll see what this exactly will do. It is really forming if we look at this on a larger time scale, we should see a somewhat symmetrical, and I say somewhat because I haven't really looked at it, cup and handle. I have to look at maybe the 6-hour chart, maybe 12-hour candlesticks. So even though, she came down and formed a V here, formed a cup and handle within a possible cup and handle. So we're going to really look at this price action to see if she is going to have a pullback to form a very nice handle, and then really get a running start to get up above that $61.63 to see if she'll start making new highs. But basically, we do have a cup here. We'll see if the handle will form. It is forming, because it's really below its high, its previous candlestick high on the 12-hour candlestick. But we do have a cup with a handle within a cup possible handle. So we'll have to definitely pay attention to that to see if that's going to be a very symmetrical handle that it's going to form. And to find that out, we'll basically just kind of have to zoom into the chart and maybe do a 30 minutes, maybe 15:05. So there's a nice handle here. It didn't really make that pop to the upside, but we'll see if she, it won't be very symmetrical, just coming down. She is having kind of a zigzag type of handle. So it looks like the cup, or the handle part of the cup, has been kind of beat up with a hammer a little bit to kind of give it a little bit of dent here and there. But we'll see. If she does pull back down to form a handle, she could really retest that level. And that level is going to be right around the $52.20, let's just say 25 cents. Because a lot of times what they like to do is they like to make the previous high as a new support line. So that was kind of the previous high here before it really ran up to that new high of $61.63. So this area here, if it does pull back to form a handle, it could pull back right to that area. And that's what she did here. So let me put a line in that area as well so you guys can see a little better. All right, so that's going to be kind of, hopefully if she is going to find a nice bottom and then get a running start to the upside and break out above the 61.63, I assume that she's going to form a bottom and not really crack and have a major sell-off, that bottom will be right around the 52.22, 52.25, considering at 3 different points. It couldn't really get above it, but it did break above it eventually, and ended up forming a very good support. So a lot of times, she'll form a good support line at the prior high, and these were really the prior highs. So we'll see if she will actually stick to what I've plotted out to see if she will come down to that price point and then bounce back up. She did attempt to get to that price point, and she got very close to it, right in this range here. I'll put another arrow there. So right here, it attempted to breach through that 52.25, and it didn't breach through it. It got close to it and then right back up. So it is indicating to me that 52.25 could be, and that's always a magic word, it could be the new support line for it, considering the previous peaks right at the 52.25, got pushed back down, 52.25, got pushed right back down to that prior other resistance of 47.50, before kind of getting a running start and breaking out above that 52.25. So we'll see if she will come down. But yeah, there's definitely a possibility for this to kind of get a more of a price action movement than it currently has. It hasn't really gone that parabolic move yet, and I think she can, as long as everything else is up. As long as BTC's crashing, everything else is going to cause to crash as well too. Everything is going to have a correction. But let's take a look at Ethereum Classic, and then we're going to take a look at Litecoin because I do have a position. So my current position is basically I have 310 Litecoins, 20 Ethereums, and then 150 Ethereum Classics, and then about a little under 1,200 in cash to be able to use for something if I can get a good entry on a nice correction. But let me get to some of these comments as well too. Noah, welcome to my live stream. But yeah, I'll take a look at Ripple, and I am interested in Ripple, but it's not moving, buddy. I'm sorry. I wish it was. It's been stuck in this range. Well, actually, yeah, from the 27. Let's see, 15-minute candlestick. It was just at what, 28? So yeah, it is. You're right. So sorry, I said it wasn't moving because it was just at 27.50ish. So yeah, we'll look at this into a little more detail. We'll go ahead and plot out some support and resistance. I think I already did that yesterday. Yeah, major resistance at that 31. But in order for this to really get up to that 31, she's got to break 30, a little over 30. 0.3015, something to that extent. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that out. But then I'll get to the comments, and then we'll really take a look at Ripple. No, I'll definitely walk you through it. Not a problem, buddy. Tracy, let's see what you're asking. If you move Ethereum from Coinbase to Bittrex, can you buy ETC, or do you have to buy ETC with BC? No, you could actually buy Ethereum. You should be able to buy Ethereum. Oh, I'm sorry, you should be able to buy ETC with Ethereum. That pair should be there. I don't really play around with Bittrex too much. But yeah, once you click on Ethereum, it should tell you the different pairs that you can actually buy it with. Let's see. BTC, Ethereum. Yes, so you can. Ethereum to Ethereum Classic pair is there. So you can use your Ethereum to buy Ethereum Classic. Yeah, so if you go to Bittrex, the main page will tell you exactly, what BTC is paired with. And it only lists, I think, the top 20, but then you can kind of go to different pages, and then you can look and see. I mean, there's a lot that they're paired with. Ethereum's paired with a lot, especially with Ethereum and Bitcoin. They're going to be paired with, majority of the altcoins that are there. So you can definitely do that. Yeah, Logan. Yeah, I don't think she has to buy it with BTC, considering it's paired. So no sense of paying the commission. Well, I guess on Coinbase you would, but on GDAX you wouldn't. And Tracy, I would never recommend using Coinbase to buy and sell. You're going to definitely pay a premium to buy. You're going to probably take a little bit of a hit to sell in comparison to the actual price. And then you are going to pay commission on top of that as well too. The Dubai review, we'll definitely cover Ripple. You didn't buy any Ripple? Well, you know what? I'm still waiting to buy Ripple, to be honest with you, Tracy. I'm not buying it either. And Gollum might have been a better bet than Ripple. Trevor, welcome, buddy, from Vietnam. Nice. Yeah, I think you were on yesterday, and I told you I wanted to visit Vietnam. My wife is actually from Vietnam. She was born in Vietnam, but adopted at a very young age to an American family. So my 3 kids are half Vietnamese and half Eritrean. Closing out a long position on Ripple, yeah. I mean, depending what your entry was, and considering it is starting to make some sort of movement, we're going to cover Ripple. I definitely want to see what this is going to do, to see if she's going to start breaking those resistance. And if she is, I mean, this could be the run, possibly. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to lock in a little bit of the profit, but yeah, I wouldn't sell everything because it could actually start running and get to that 35 cents. Logan, not a problem, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining too, by the way. Thank you. And for any of you guys that don't know Logan, Logan's been with me since day one. I remember, we got into a conversation about Bitcoin crashing, and he's a big Bitcoin believer, and I am too. But at that point, I was expecting, my analysis was that Bitcoin was going to drop to 650-ish, and we got into a agree to disagree type of conversation on one of the videos, and that's how I kind of met Logan. I was like, I like this guy. And then he started following the live stream, and I was like, this is awesome. So I was like, I got to make this guy my moderator. But yeah, Logan, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Yeah, and Tracy, we're all going to have learning curves. I have learning curves, and I've been doing this for a long time, trading, stocks, and then kind of migrating over to the cryptocurrency world. But yeah, I still have learning curves. I still break my rules. I'm only human. It's going to happen. It's just best thing to just kind of try to learn from your mistakes and try not to repeat them. But yeah, I repeat my mistakes all the time, unfortunately. All right, let's take a look at, I'm going to look at this a little more granular and possibly on the 5-minute chart. RSI 72.87. So we're definitely going to pay attention to that RSI and see how high this RSI is going to get before there is going to be a correction. But let me see where RSI has previously topped out at. And I did change my RSI. So, I've told you guys before, anything 30 to, anything close to 30 RSI is considered oversold. And that's usually when traders look to get in, because then by that time it has found some sort of a bottom. And anything over 75 is considered overbought, so that basically, people are going to be looking to sell because it's going parabolic, it's going to the moon, FOMO's kicking in, and it's only going to have a correction. And that's usually what they do. So a lot of traders will really specifically just follow the RSI, and they can do very well. But the RSI is not a crystal ball. It's not 100% that it's a perfect time to get out, because it could correct, and then it's actually still moving up to the upside, and the RSI can be a little bit misleading. But I did update my RSI to make it a little more competitive with the price action that I've seen with Ripple and some of these cryptocurrencies. And I've changed mine to 20 to 80. So 20 is considered oversold, and then 80 is considered overbought. And as we can see, it's basically the dotted lines is where my RSI is set to, that I kind of customize. And a couple times it touched the 20. It touched the 20. So that's when basically buyers were buying it up. But here it touched a 20, but we didn't really have too much of an upside, too much of a kick, like we've had here when it touched close to 20, and then had a really nice move from 18 to right about 32 cents. So 18 cents to 32 cents. So definitely look at RSI, but don't take take it with a grain of salt, because you got to look at other probabilities as well too. But it can definitely help with your probability being correct by incorporating RSI and a lot of the other indicators too. So it's just not one thing that you're looking at. So we'll definitely keep an eye out. RSI currently 68.52, but she's got to break out above that 30. If she can break out above the 30, yeah, that possibly 32 could be in sight. So 30, 31, and then 32. But yeah, in order for this to really kind of show that it's bullish, she's got to get above 30 and maintain the 30 and just consolidate at that 30. I mean, she can consolidate sideways for a good amount of time, and that just means that, more probability for it to have a nice kick to the upside if it is consolidating at a very healthy, somewhat stable price. And that price to me would be 30 cents, to see if she gets above 30, consolidates, hold, then it could indicate that there is going to be a nice move to the upside, and to take a very small position, nothing big. But she could easily correct. Your probability could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, the breakout on the 30-minute candlestick, yeah, I mean, it's nothing impressive. It hasn't really impressed me yet. It wasn't like the breakout on Ethereum Classic, where it's pulling back a little bit now, but that breakout was nice. But yeah, for anybody though that's, if I was looking to take a position in this like right now, because I think, what, this is possibly the bottom, and it's going to hit that high again of 42 cents. If I was looking for a position, I always try to wait for them to come to me. So instead of that 18 cents that I'm really looking for that bare bottom price, I would possibly be looking for 27.5 for a definite entry. And then if I want to play just a little safer, I would be looking for that possibly 26.5, somewhere in that range there. Because really the trend has been that it stayed above that 25.9, let's just say 26. Let's see what the exact number was. 26.01 and 26.01. So anything above, let's just say, 26.1. I wouldn't even say 26.01. If you wanted to be a little conservative, that 18 cents is very conservative, but if you just wanted to be a little bit conservative and not get in right away, that 26.1 would be great. But if you're looking to possibly get a position in now, instead of buying at the current level, I would kind of wait for it to come back to you, and that level would be right where before it started taking off. So 27.6, 27.5 possibly. I would say 27.9, even 28 cents. That would be a possibly good entry, and then 28 to possibly 30 to see what it does at 30. If it pops and breaks out with a vengeance above that 30, then you're in a confirmed possible breakout, because it is breaking these levels that it's had a hard time in the past. But it's got to have that confirmed breakout, and it's got to break out real well, and not just kind of touch it and hover near it or teeter-totter near it, and really trying to find the direction. Let me see if I missed any of these comments. Trevor, you know what? I did not look at those yesterday, and I think you did ask me yesterday to look at those. But you know what? I'm going to do that right now for you. Let me just read some of these comments, but yeah, I will definitely take a look at that. And that's as long as it's on one of the exchanges that I have. When would I sell if the peak happens? If the peak happens live, like if it happens right now, the peak is at 42 cents. That's an all-time high. That's really, if I was looking to hold this for a bigger gain, for a bigger share of the wallet, then that 42 cents is a resistance. We know it's a resistance, especially on Poloniex. On Bittrex or Bitfinex, it's that 37, 38 cents, because really it was just listed. It wasn't that long ago. So that's really when I would be looking to cash out and wait for a nice healthy correction to get back in to use the capital, as well as the profit that I made to buy a larger position. But yeah, I have no issues at all selling a portion of my position at certain levels, just to lock in those profits and be happy with it. And I've done that many times. Yeah, the profit could have been better if I would have just stuck through it, but who knows what they're going to do? No one knows what these altcoins are going to do, or these cryptocurrencies are going to do. So I feel comfortable just knowing that, hey, at these different price points, which is basically the resistance, I'm going to lock in a little bit of my profit, because sometimes they could hit that resistance and go up, or they could, majority of the time, they'll hit that resistance and pull back down. But then at least you know that you've locked in some of that profit at those key resistance levels. So I sell at resistance levels, but I sell a little bit just to lock in some of the profit. So with Ethereum Classic, that 1750 is just bouncing, giving it a hard time. So if I had a lot more than the 150, if I still had my 1570 from before what I bought, I would have been looking to lock in some of those profits at that 1750, because I knew that it's not going to bounce above it, and then I can buy back in at 1650. Tracy, thank you so much for the comment. I do appreciate it. And Tracy just basically commented saying, my analysis is perfect for those of us coming from the stock market trading. Same sane, hard look, no fluff, charts, history, volume, volatility. Exactly. You could have said it any better, Tracy. What's the price in XR, Ripple, and BTC? The price is, let's see. It looks to be well, actually, I shouldn't say 10,498 Satoshis. I'll go ahead and put up the BTC price for the cryptocurrencies on Bitfinex. I kind of took them off because there's just too much to look at, but I'll go ahead and put them back on so you guys will be able to see them on the left-hand side. So it'll basically list, cryptocurrency in USD as well as BTC. But Ethereum was not loading. We'll do Dash as well too. And Bitcoin Unlimited has surprised me. I was looking at that at 120. Not much volume. I mean, if I would have bought 10, I would have had a hard time getting out. But for it to go from 120 to 210, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, if you do invest or trade BCU, Bitcoin Unlimited, yeah, just don't buy too much because you won't be able to get out if the price really peaks. Yeah, it's really personal preference, Noah. A lot of people don't like trading in fiat. They like trading, the BTC pair or the ETC pair. I feel more comfortable, basically sleeping at night, knowing basically I've locked in some USD and I'm not in an altcoin, so I'm not going from one altcoin to another altcoin that could possibly have that volatility. But yeah, it's all personal preference. Now, thank you so much for sharing my stream. I appreciate that, bud. And you linked it to a thread you have on Facebook, dude. That is awesome. Yeah, dude, that'll definitely help, Matt. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Trevor, that was definitely me. And I thought about that, and I'm going to look at this now for you. And I thought about that once I got off the live stream. I'm like, somebody did ask me to take a look at two cryptocurrencies that, especially the one I've never really heard of. And I was like, man, I didn't really get a chance to take a look at it for him. Let's see. Is it Licky or Likey? That is not on Bittrex. If anybody's holding steam, from like the 20,000, 25,000 Satoshi, you're definitely being rewarded. So congratulations on that investment. Let's take a look at the other one, Extra Byte. Anything I said this yesterday. Anything with byte in it seems to be really making moves. So I don't know. Maybe I should throw a couple bucks at every byte that's out there. No, buddy. They're not on Bittrex, and I doubt they're on Poloniex, to be honest with you. I'll take a look on Poloniex. If you know what exchange they have, let me know, and if I have access to it, I'll definitely look at it for you. Or I'll set up an account, and then on the next live stream, I'll cover it for you. Yeah, but they are not on any exchanges that I'm using. Nah, sorry, bud. But yeah, if you let me know what exchange they have, I'll set up an account. I probably won't use it to trade, but if they have a good charting system, I'll take a look at it for you. Tracy, thank you so much for sharing that, because I had no clue at all. But yeah, if you guys have any information, like Tracy, about those two cryptocurrencies, definitely share them, because I had no clue, and I'm sure there are some viewers on here who might not know the ins and outs. So Tracy, thank you so much for sharing that information with us. Steam chart done. Excuse me. I don't know if Steam is done. Steam just seems to be steaming along. I don't know why Bittrex is not cooperating with me. There we go. Man, $2.33. Who knew? Who knew? It's definitely been pumped. I mean, there are just, people out there on YouTube just pumping this thing. So it's definitely been pumped. But yeah, it's still showing the same type of pattern. A lot of these cryptocurrencies are not much of a symmetrical flat pattern, considering she did dip down to a little under 80,000 and then make right back up to 92,000, almost 93,000. But yeah, I mean, if you were really looking at this, before it had this really nice uptick here, that would have been the tall tale indicator that this thing has flagged. If you take really a line and draw from the top of this candle here down to the bottom there, and then just draw a straight line from where it kind of bottomed out, it would indicate to you, yep, this is flagging. It'll have a nice uptick, but that uptick didn't last long. It couldn't really break out above its all-time high of 97,400, 97,000 satoshis. I'm sorry, 97,497 satoshis. But yeah, it pulled right back down to that support line. So we'll see if it actually, that support line will hold, or if she's going to break that support line and come back down. But yeah, the more times that it tests those support lines, the scarier it can get, to be honest with you. I don't want to see it testing the same support line over and over and over again, because the probabilities of it really cracking through it are a lot higher than maintaining it. It's a strong support, because it's bounced off that level. But if it continuously keeps doing that, it's like, okay, you know what? At what level, at what point, it touching those same support lines, is it just going to completely break through it? And there could be somebody sitting on the sideline and just saying, you know what? I'm tired of this price action movement. It's not moving up, above this support line. It just keeps coming right back down to the support line. I'm getting out of this right now, and then that could cause a nice crash, below its support line. But yeah, Steam has been impressive, but I would be careful. The dump is going to happen. I mean, it's been pumped up, and then it's going to get dumped, and you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of that trade. But yeah, I mean, the overall chart is pretty insane on this. Yeah, this is definitely a big pump here. I mean, that's just enormous. From the 30,000 Satoshi range, getting up to 750,000 Satoshis. That was a high there. Before, of course, so if anybody chased it, I mean, FOMO kicking in, fear of missing out, and they were just really, playing the hype, and they got in close to the top there, thinking it's going to go up higher, and not really looking at, okay, where could the resistance possibly be? And that was just really when it got launched, and it touched it to a T before really just pulling back down and flattening out and consolidating. So, I mean, if you were looking to get in, I mean, this would be the perfect time to start adding, when it just flatlines and does not move at all, to start adding, little positions here and there. Even though it looks like it's flatlined here, as we zoom in closer, there are going to be up and down ticks. So, to not get all in, but to add a little bit. And then if it dips down a little further on you, like it has dipped here, down to 5,800, 6,000 Satoshis, then add a little more. But that's the best way really of playing these. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to get right back up to that 750,000 Satoshis anytime soon. Let's see what it's got to break. It's got to break. It's got to break this level here on the left-hand side. And that level looks to be, wow, 116,000 Satoshis, something to that extent. Yeah, I don't think I would be playing Steam. I mean, I played it a long time ago, hoping for a nice little bump, but the trade didn't work out to my favor, so I sold it at a 2,000 Satoshi loss. But yeah, if I was patient with it, that would have definitely paid off. Actually, you know what, Trevor? We'll take a look at that. Let me just get some of these comments, and I'll try to find those and see what exchange they're on. The Noise Creek, welcome, man. Not a problem. I got a lot of knowledge to share, and I'm happy to do so. As long as I get people to kind of join this live stream, it motivates me more to keep doing these. Let's see. What's the best free exchange to draw our support and some resistance line. TradingView is great. You know, if you can use TradingView, you can set up a free account, especially if you don't have an exchange that allows you to kind of, you know, chart out your points. I like Bittrex because it's really just they incorporate TradingView right into it. CryptoWatch is okay. I just don't like the fact that I can't color code, you know, the support, the resistance, or even the trend line that I would draw out. But it's not bad to kind of learn on how to use it. It is somewhat basic. So if you're looking at just kind of getting into charting and play around with it, definitely play around with CryptoWatch. And then, you know, once you get familiar with CryptoWatch, then you had to kind of move up to something, you know, that's a little more advanced. And TradingView is great. I think Coinigy uses TradingView. Troll box removed from Poloniex. Let's see. Yeah, I guess people have been trolling, huh? Actually, I do have Poloniex open. Yeah, no troll box. Wow. Because I'm sure the moderators, man, they get tons of crap thrown at them. Yeah, something's brewing then with Poloniex. I don't know. I don't trust him too much. Yeah, Tracy, I followed you on Steemit when you wrote me that message a couple of days ago. But yeah, I'll definitely go there and help you out, and I'll vote your videos. Bat is back above 90,000. Yeah, the Dubai review, margin trading. Ah, man, that could be dangerous. In moderation, it's okay. It all depends how much of it are you leveraging. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, take profits at key levels, and take a look at those key levels and say, you know what, how many times has it gotten rejected from these key levels? It's a great level to lock in some of the profit, and that's exactly what I would be doing if I was, you know, if I had a larger position in ETC. So let's see what ETC is going to do. It is pulling back to 1758. So we'll see if that 1750 is going to be the baseline of support that I mentioned earlier. A lot of times that's what they end up doing. As long as the selling doesn't intensify, it will form that new baseline as a new support. So we will see if she maintains it. But I did promise to take a look at for Trevor some of those coins and see exactly, you know, what exchange they might be listed on. So let's see, best way to search. Let me go ahead and, I don't think we have the symbol for it. We'll see if they come up. Let's see, XBY, extra bytes. And then basically, yeah, so if you're on CoinMarketCap, you know, you just search for it, it pulls up. There's a lot of information you can really find out. You can go on their website, you can look at their announcements, you can look at, you know, what markets, and that's exactly what we're going to click on. You can look at their social media. So we're going to go click on markets, and it's basically available on 5 markets: YoBit, CCEX, Cryptopia, CCEX again, because different pairs. So really, in actuality, it's only available on 3 exchanges. YoBit, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would trust them. Let's see, volume 88% of XBY volume is going to YoBit. 0.03, 0.03, 0.03 cents, 0.03 cents, 0.06 on Cryptopia. Let's see. But volume is very low. I mean, you know, volume $100, $120, that's nothing. You know, I really wouldn't even touch it unless it had volume. You know, it would pique my interest if it had volume of over $500,000 in 24 hours. You know, but I really wouldn't even think about playing it even if it was at $500 or 500,000 in volume. $1 million in volume, yes. You know, I know that there is going to be liquidity, there is going to be momentum, there is going to be volatility. But YoBit, I don't know if I would trust them. So really, that's the only place that you could actually trade extra bytes on. But let me click on YoBit and see what it tells me, see if I can even get a chart. Yeah, I would definitely be curious to see if extra bytes is going to be listed on some of these major exchanges where there is a good amount of liquidity, a good amount of volume, like Poloniex and Bittrex. Yobit's website, yobit.net. Yeah, their charting system is nothing special. Yeah, I'd like to be able to zoom in and out within the candlestick. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to play around with this with the site and see how user friendly it is. But as of right now, it's definitely not easy on the eyes to be able to look at this. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, it looks like it's consolidating, leveling out. It didn't crash right back down to where it came from. So that's some sort of a positive sign, because a lot of times, I mean, and this is a 6-month chart that we're looking at. A lot of times when something, you know, a shit coin does get pumped up, they come right back down to where they belong. And that's really where they started out from. So really this has, you know, it went up, came back down, retraced a little bit, you know, profit taken is going to happen, but it has maintained a very solid support line, which is way above where it basically came from. So this kind of looks somewhat healthy, but I'd have to analyze it a little more on a more granular type of charting system. But on a larger scale, yes, it does look like it's, you know, consolidating and leveling out. But I need to be able to look at this on a 1-hour candlestick and be able to zoom in and out and see exactly where she's, you know, where she was in the past, you know, what the history of this was in the past, to kind of try to have a better probability of an accurate reading of what it might do in the future. But yeah, so Yobit's charting system is nothing spectacular. Let's see, what was the other coin? Okay, 34 cents, up 7 cents or 7%, 6.5%. Let's see what website they're on. I guess they have their own exchange. Interesting. Let's take a look at their exchange and see what it looks like. Yeah, I would be careful with a lot of these exchanges, man. Like I wouldn't trust them at all. I wouldn't trust them to keep a lot of money in there. Maybe, you know, like a quarter of a BTC possibly. But yeah, I would be very, very leery. They definitely deal in different currencies, which is good. It's just not paired to the USD, or I mean, it's just not paired to BTC. Looks like you can do the USD, the franc, a bunch of different currencies. Yeah, but their website, it's not a trader's website. So yeah, it's basically, I think that you can only buy them from their exchange, and that's it. Yeah, I would be very careful. Yeah, if you can find out, you know, what cryptocurrency or what altcoins are basically on a, you know, on a crappy exchange, and they're going to be listed on a major exchange, you know, that's really the time to kind of keep an eye out on them. All right, let's see. We did crack below the 1750, so let's see if she keeps cracking and getting below it, or if she's going to maintain that level, kind of level out. But yeah, she's giving back $1.50, or actually $1. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can get to some of these comments. Yeah, Logan, BTC and ETH are going down, and that's what happened yesterday when I got off the live stream. They definitely started to pull back, and you know, Litecoin did pull back to 28, and I was surprised. I was like, "Wow, did this really happen?" Like I walked away from my computer. I didn't think I was going that long, so I was surprised that it dipped to 28. But I mean, BTC dropped, a little under $300. Might have been what, 275, something to that extent. But yeah, I mean, to have a close to $300 drop, I mean, for Bitcoin, it's not really that much, unless it kind of, dropped the $300 and then maintained that drop when it just consolidated. But it came right back up. It's like on a trampoline or something. It drops and then it bounces right back up, and it bounces up with a vengeance. Kofi, welcome. Holding or selling DGB? I don't know what you're doing. Are you holding or are you selling it? I think I looked at DGB yesterday, but I'll gladly just kind of glance at it. What is she doing? Is she trending or? Yeah, flagging, just like everything else. Yeah, everything is flagging. But she's maintaining key levels, key areas of support. She's maintaining it. Three different areas that she kind of got to and then bounced right back up. Yeah, I wish I could draw lines on this. Yeah, considering she's currently downtrending right now from, looks like yesterday at 10 p.m. It is definitely downtrending. So if she is going to touch that support, there's a possibility she could touch that support line. And that support line could really be, let's see if I can be a little precise. 1800, I'm going to say. Possibly 1800 would be the support line if she does get to it. But the trend is not, the price action is not getting thinner and thinner. For a possible squeeze on that bull flag pattern. Yeah, there's still a gap. I mean, with this downtrend here, yes, you can probably say, it is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. But overall, that trend is not getting tighter to say, yes, this is the point where it possibly could have a very nice uptick. So we'll have to really pay attention to see if she kind of, flat lines right around the 1750 range and just kind of start to have a nice little curl to the upside to kind of indicate, okay, you know what, this could be where flat lines and then kind of has a nice move up to the upside. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know what I would do if I was holding this. Depending on what my entry was, I guess. I mean, if I had a great entry, I would be looking to see, if she's going to get wedged and have a nice pop, so I can actually sell at a higher profit or sell at the current level and lock in some of the profit. Lucky's is a Danish word for luck. Good to know. How lucky is it though? Let's see what Matt's saying. Matt, cryptocurrency news, Blue Icon. It's a great app. It combines news with many main outlets into one. That's pretty good to know. What do I use on my phone? There is an app that I use, and I don't think it's the one that you're describing. If my phone will actually cooperate with me. Yeah, Matt, I actually use BTC News app. And then it basically almost does the same thing. It combines, just from basically everywhere: CoinDesk, Altcoins News, Cointelegraphic, Altcoin Today, News BTC, BTC Manager, News BTC. I mean, it basically does the exact same thing. But I'll definitely have to check out what you just mentioned. Let me actually write that down because I know I'll probably forget. The Warpler, yes, I have heard about IOTA, and I was going to talk about it, but I kind of forgot yesterday. It will be listed on an exchange, and it'll actually be listed on Bitfinex, which I'm kind of excited about to see what it's going to do. And I think, if I don't end up getting into Ripple, I think I'll end up using, the whatever I have under $1,200 and getting into IOTA as a gamble. It's going to be a gamble, to be honest with you, and see what she's going to do. But yeah, that will be listed. Let's take a look. It's very soon. It's coming up, actually. 13th, possibly. June 13th, IOTA will be trading on Bitfinex. And for some of you that don't know, I'll just kind of verbatimly read some of the information. Basically, IOTA is the first distributed ledger protocol that goes beyond blockchain through its core invention, Tangle. I guess that's what it's called. The IOTA Tangle is a direct acrylic graph which has no fees on transactions and no fixed limit on how many transactions can be confirmed per second in the network. Instead, the throughput grows in conjunction with activity in the network. So the more activity, the faster the network. I guess unlike typical blockchain, it's faster. And IoT, there is no separation of users and validators, rather validation in an intrinsic property of using the ledger. Oh, interesting. But yeah, I'll play it depending on the price action, depending on what it's doing. But I'm not going to get into it ASAP right away once it's launched, because more than likely, early investors are going to be looking to dump it, and I'll try to catch a bottom. But yeah, if you guys are on on Bitfinex, that's where you'll be able to buy it or trade it. Yeah, Trevor. Yeah, it's always good to find out, what exchange they use, and if they do use that exchange, especially like YieldBit, how do they like it? How trustworthy is it? What issues have they had in the past with it? So I really can't speak about YieldBit. I have not used it. This is the first time I've actually clicked on it. But yeah, it's always good to find out, if somebody is using that exchange, what are the pros and cons with that exchange, and have they had any issues, getting money out? Monero, I covered it earlier, but yeah, it's pretty impressive, the move that it's made. And when I was looking at it, it was like, all right, 44 bucks. I was like, well, let's see if it pulls back to 40. But at that $40 level, that's really, or $41 level, that's where a lot of the consolidation happened for an extended period of time before it had this really nice up move to break all-time highs. Well, not all-time highs, but to break the previous high. But it is pulling back down. Let's take a look and see. I think it hit $61.63, but it might be pulling back down just a little bit. Yeah, 55.12. So I would be excited about, Monero if she gets that $40 level, $41 level, where a lot of the consolidation happened. Trevor, thank you so much for joining, man. You have a great night as well. Hopefully all is well in Vietnam. But yeah, man, next time I'm doing a live stream, definitely hop on, and looking forward to you being a regular. By the way, hit that like icon. Yes. Yeah. If you find this information helpful, please, help me out, help out CryptoTraders Room. And by you clicking that like button, more people are able to find these videos and get more people to join this live stream, get it to be very interactive. But yeah, we got 33 people on this live stream today. So if you find this information helpful, please, click on that like button. And if you haven't done so, definitely subscribe. We are close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, in a matter of, less than 6 months. So this is huge. This is huge. So I think last time I checked, we were sitting at 940, something to that extent. Let me see what it is. What currently at now. Yeah, Lisk. Yeah, I'll definitely look at that for you. I'm gonna get to these comments real quick, Tracy, and then I'm gonna walk away from my computer and mute the mic for about 2 minutes. But when I get back, I'll definitely take a look at Lisk. Jonathan, that's a great recommendation, bud. And if you're on Slack right now, you can definitely write ECS a message. I don't know if ECS is live streaming this now, considering he's in the process of moving. But yeah, that would be a great idea. And we do have stuff that kind of feeds into one of the Slack channels, and you might not have access to that Slack channel, but it's one of our Twitter feeds, and a lot of the information about cryptocurrencies does flow into that feed. Yeah, but to have a link, for all exchanges, or just about all the news outlets that are out there. Yeah, Jonathan, that'd be great if you could share that as well too with the group. We're always looking for information, and I think the more information we have, the more of an informed decision that we can make on getting a good entry in. So having those types of alerts definitely comes in handy. Yeah, because it's always good to know, how volume is increasing, and if something has been flatlining for so long, and you see that the uptick in volume is increasing and increasing, it's getting ready to be pumped because somebody's just been accumulating and accumulating and accumulating, and now they're accumulating more than they were accumulating in the past. So that's causing the nice uptick in volume. So that's very important to look at. 10,000 USD this year? I don't know, Saeed. I don't know. It could definitely get there, and it will, but I just don't know by the end of the year. Let's shoot for a price target of 5,000 for end of the year. I think that's a little more realistic. Could be somewhat attainable, but 10,000 might be a little unrealistic at this time. To do it within 6 months. To be honest with you, that's just my honest opinion. I'm only human. I could definitely be wrong. No, IOTA is probably not listed. If that's what you mean, IOTA, what I was just previously talking about. Yeah, it's not listed on CoinMarketCap. But I think, once it's listed on Bitfinex, it should be on CoinMarketCap. But let me go ahead and mute this for about 2.5, 3 minutes. I will be right back, and then Tracy will take a look at Lisk for you. And I know Lisk was up pretty big today. Yeah, 44%. Huge. MLN, never heard of it, but it's on Kraken, 48%. For me to buy these, yeah, I'm buying into the hype, and that's one thing I'll recommend is don't buy into the hype. They're already up so much. You're buying at the peak there, but we'll definitely take a look at Blisk when I get back for you. All right, sorry about that. So let's take a look and see what I missed. Before we get to Lisk, I'll just take a look at Ethereum Classic real quick. The 1750 is holding up pretty well, 1775. So it did bounce off that 1750, form it as a new support line for it, which is very good. And that's kind of what I wanted to see. Yeah, it's off the a dollar from its current high, the run that it made, but it's maintaining that 1750, and that's kind of the important level that I'm looking at. Waves, yeah, we can look at waves. I looked at it yesterday and analyzed it yesterday. So yeah, we can definitely briefly take a look at it. So let's see, up 46% on Poloniex. And I don't think, we'll take a look at it on different exchanges as well. And see what the price difference is. So 90,515 on Bittrex. And what is it on Poloniex? 90,370. So off by about 200 Satoshis. Not much of a difference. But we'll take a look at it on CryptoWatch because I can definitely zoom in and out. And that's one thing, if you guys are using a good charting platform, yeah, make sure you could, scroll and zoom in and out to, specific candlesticks and not really have to click on the dedicated tabs that they have to be able to zoom in and out of the candlesticks. That's very important. But yeah, depending where your entry was, Tracy, I mean, it definitely broke out above that prior resistance that it had, and it looks to be about, because I know on CryptoWatch they actually take away a zero, so I don't want to say 7,533, so it's 75,330 Satoshis, and it broke out above it, not too bad. I mean, it did pretty well. There was a lot of fighting that was happening between the bears and the bulls to kind of, figure out the price movement right in that range of its previous high. But the bulls basically took control and moved it up to the upside. It is coming back down, of course. And if it does come back down, it's going to basically retest that support line again. And that support line is really right around that same range, anywhere between 8,000 to 7,500. Well, I'm sorry, 80,000 Satoshis to 75,000 Satoshis. But yeah, this is on a 1 hour candlestick. So let's get a little more granular. Yeah, definitely downtrending. But I mean, it's going to happen, Tracy. When it has a nice parabolic move within 3 candlesticks, where it's really gaining, going from 76,000 to 124,000. That's huge. So there's going to be a lot of profit takers that are going to be locking in those profits, especially if they bought in at the bottom barrel, or even momentum chasers if they would have chased it on the second candlestick or possibly mid third candlestick before it went really to that 125,000 Satoshis. So we are having a pullback. But they're all doing the slagging pattern. So let's go ahead and draw out some lines here. I mean, every cryptocurrency will be flagging. So there's our flag there, and of course there's our pole, and I'll go ahead and put a longer line right where the pole basically is. And that's our flag. That is our flag pattern there. So we'll see if she kind of gets wedged into this tip of the flag here and kind of have a nice uptick. But that is going to be where possibly the levels that it's going to test out. And if it does break below, where I think the resistance is, the first area of, the first area of support, not resistance, which would be right around the 86,000, 87,000 Satoshis. Then if she breaks below that, then really the next area is going to be right around the 81,000 Satoshis. And then it breaks below that, 70,000 Satoshis, give or take. If I was to really play this safe, and to try to get a nice bottom entry, that's really what I would be looking at. I would be looking at the 70,000 Satoshis to see if it actually cracks below the other areas of support, which are going to be somewhere in these ranges here. So this is really the level that I would be basically paying attention to if I wanted to get an entry into the LISC. So to see if she actually, pulls back down. And, with major selling, yeah, she could pull back down. But volume seems to be drying. As we can see, volume peaked when it hit that 125,000 Satoshis. And it's just been basically downtrending with volume. But if she does break that level, that I would be looking at getting an entry if I was looking at this for an entry. And if she does break the 70,000, then really, yeah, the other area of support is going to be right around a little under 50,000. I'm sorry, a little under 60,000. So it could be anywhere from 60,000 to about 59,000, but we'll say 60,000 just to be on a somewhat safe side. So basically areas of resistance there. I'm sorry, areas of support, not resistance. But areas of resistance, if she does tend to break out, I mean, she's got to get above the 100,000 and then 110,000 and then 114,000. So 110, 111, and then 116. So those are going to be the areas of resistance that it's going to have if she does decide to kind of have a nice, move to the upside, especially if she gets wedged in here. And we'll pay attention. I'll leave this chart up. I'll leave the support and resistance there, as well as the bull flag pattern, to see if she's going to reach this wedge and then have just a nice pop to the upside. And if she does pop with a lot of volume, then yeah, she could really test really the second areas of support, of resistance, and that will be right around the 110 range. But yeah, definitely a nice pattern, and all these cryptocurrencies look the same, to be honest with you, currently right now. So, you could get lucky with some of these bull flag patterns and, yeah, and really get a nice pop to the upside. Or, volume could really diminish once it gets to that wedge and really there's no support for it. And trader, or somebody that's really invested in this long term, or somebody that's trading this could say, you know what, it's not doing anything for me. Let me get out. Let me look for something else. Or they might see something else moving and they need capital for that other position, so they might be selling LISC if they're in LISC, especially if it's not moving up to the upside and having an uptrend. And I can't seem to draw another arrow. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, and this is basically just the upward trend line. Of course, we have the downward trend line, upward trend line. So we'll see if she, gets either to this wedge here or gets to the wedge of the bull flag, and then gets moved to the upside. But yeah, this will be the telltale sign to see exactly what she's going to do. Whether she's going to hit this price point here and then get a nice tick to the upside, or if she's going to hit it and then violently just really kind of crash before she even gets to this wedge. So hopefully, Tracy, that was helpful. Let me get to some of these comments. And then LTC is basically having a hard time above. It's basically forming a new resistance at that $30 range. So not getting a nice breakout, at least above 30, above 31. That's where I would like to see this thing kind of settle. But she's got to get above that $30.80. That $30.80 gave it a hard time. Tracy, thank you for sharing that information. Yeah, if you guys have any information, because I know, a lot of people do a lot of research on some of these coins. Yeah, definitely please share your knowledge with us. Yeah, I mean, when mainstream media, starts talking about cryptocurrencies, it can get a little scary. They'll definitely pump it. What did I receive yesterday? Let me take a look at my my email. And one thing too, guys, be very careful of receiving emails and clicking on links. I just received an email today. The title was basically new announcement. We can do it, and it was basically the same email, and I haven't even clicked on it, but it's basically the same email, but different senders. So the first sender was basically CryptoNet. The second sender was Currency Projects. The title, everything was basically the same. Saying good morning, good evening, good night. Wherever you are in the world, my name is G something, and I didn't even click on it. I just basically, I'm going to hit delete and delete that. So yes, I would be very careful opening links or opening emails that you receive. There's a lot of crazy things out there that are going on, so definitely protect yourself. But let's see if I can find that email that I received. And basically, chat rooms in the stock market are talking about cryptocurrencies. And the headline was basically, Cryptomania continues. And they basically indicate, the total market cap of all digital currencies. They say all digital currencies, and then they put Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum on there. Gross $100 billion today. That's bigger than the market cap of Goldman Sachs. And then someone made a list of altcoins they think are worth watching. And I did click on it, and I was surprised. I'll read some of the stuff that's on there. Their prediction on some of these coins. As long as it opens up that link. Yeah, I agree, Tracy. Definitely stop paying attention to anything from Wall Street. It's as corrupt as it can be. Roberto, welcome. Hello. But basically, yeah. So on here, what this guy did was he kind of plotted out. He color coded some of the cryptocurrencies, not all of them. He gave some of them a green light, which has legit potential, useful altcoin. It has a fair start, real development team, etc. If he listed as yellow, it was a silly altcoin, basically listed as fair start. If it's blue, he listed it as a scam coin, because a lot of times they're instantly mined or pre-mined. Purple, he basically said, what the hell are these things? For gray, they are not even blockchain. And red, unregistered, unlicensed security sale to run a Ruby Goldberg machine sold as a world computer to create smart contracts that don't even need to be decentralized 99% of the time. Currently being used in platform to sell ICO scams. And Ethereum is listed as one of those. So Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, he listed as currently being used as a platform to sell ICO scams. Let's see what else he's saying about Ethereum. Ethereum has the added bonus of not even being immutable, and the entire house of cards rests on top of the 30 kilogram or 30 kg Russians. And let's not forget the point of work and point of sale, or proof of stake and proof of work upcoming clusterfuck. So the coins that he listed in the green was basically Litecoin and Monero, and he listed those as legit, potentially useful. And he basically just, he kind of listed the top 15 coins. In yellow, basically indicating, that these are silly altcoins, he listed Digibyte and Dogecoin as kind of the silly altcoins. For the scam coins in blue, he listed, he listed Steam, Steam was listed in blue, and Dash as well too was listed in blue as a scam coin. Purple indicating, what the hell are these things? He had Stratus in purple, Bitcoin in purple, Waves in purple. And then in gray saying, these are not even blockchains. It was Ripple, NIM were listed in gray. And then red was, of course, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, indicating that they are only currently being used as a platform to sell ICO scams. But yeah, so there's definitely a lot of talk in the traditional financial market and a lot of these chat rooms about cryptocurrency and how the market cap has definitely exceeded some of the market cap of some of the widely known companies, Goldman Sachs and things like that. And it could definitely outpace Apple pretty soon, the total market cap. So it is good news in the sense that, yeah, it's going to bring more traders on, but it's also going to bring a lot more volatility, a lot more up and down swings. So that's something we definitely got to prepare for and be careful and not buy into the hype, because once these things start moving, people start chasing it, and it's just kind of hard to pick out where the top is going to be before it really comes crumbling down. Jonathan, yes, sir. Thank you for joining, man. I appreciate it. We'll definitely chat on Slack. Yes, I will actually share that. Let me see. Where is it? I'll share it on Slack. Or let me, you know what? Let me access my email real quick. I'll share it on here. I'm trying to figure out what email address it came to. So let's see, it was titled, what was the title on that email? The Rise of Altcoins. All right, so I'm sharing that link with you guys. I normally don't like sharing links. I don't like clicking on links. I would be very leery on links that you guys click on. But if you didn't want to click on the link, you could definitely go to just stocktwits.com and search for it that way. But yeah, be very careful of links that are provided to you guys for you guys to click on. And that's one thing about the Slack chat is I don't allow any type of links. Just tell us what the story is, and we all know where to go and find it. I don't want to expose anybody to any type of harm or exposure to malware or type of virus by, having people share links. Lauren, welcome. Hope all's well. But all right, so let's see. Litecoin still down. Let's see even if they allow me to short this. They should, considering I have a position of 310. So they're going to allow me to short. If I wanted to short this, they will allow me to short 308 Litecoins. And I've talked about shorting and how shorting works. Basically, I'm betting that the price of Litecoin is going to go down. I'm not going to short, but I do have the ability to short if I wanted to right now. But if I'm still holding my position and then she does get a nice run up to the 3180, which it has been given it a hard time, and if it doesn't break out above the 3180, yeah, you know what? I might take a little short position to get a nice 50-cent drop, to make $150. But we'll see exactly how that plays out and see if it's going to break out above the 31.80 or $30.80 for it to possibly get up to 31.80. And if it does, yeah, it might be a good shorting opportunity for me at that point. But I would be very careful with shorting, guys. That's not something I would recommend. But yeah, I will personally not be shorting at this current level. But yesterday would have been great to short, considering we had that nice dip. So let's see, if BTC takes a dip, and some of these popular altcoins are going to follow the same suit, then yeah, shorting might not be a bad idea for me today, just to make a $150 or $200, whatever it might be. Abraham, welcome. And yes, it's a very good question. And Abraham is asking, basically he wants to know about trading, about the trading training, I'm sorry, and so forth. And if I offer those, yes, I do offer those. Those are something that we're currently working on getting the structure. But definitely be on the lookout for that, because I will be offering like one-on-one mentorship program and kind of personalize it to what it is that you want to learn. So we'll spend that hour on, any concerns or issues that you might have in the sense of trading. And then there's another one that I'm offering where I'll basically walk you, from step by step on, how to set up an account at exchange, how to fund it, how to buy cryptocurrency, how to transfer it to a different exchange for arbitrage, things like that. Those are 1-hour sessions, and definitely keep an eye out for that. But that is something I will be offering. So $2,800 for BTC, still not bad at all. It didn't make that high above 29.13. I think that high was before she came down a little bit. So 29.38 was the high after she came back down to 26.75-ish. I don't think she broke out above 2,900. No, she got stopped right at $2,889. Let's just say, $2,890 basically was where she got stopped at. So we'll see. I mean, it is showing some sort of a downtrend. We'll see if the moving averages actually converse and cross each other. They are getting very close to closing each other, especially on the 1 hour candlestick chart. On the 15-minute, yes, they have crossed over. So we'll see exactly how wide our moving averages will basically separate apart, and the further apart that they are, the longer that the dip is going to last. But as they get tighter and tighter, and they're getting close to conversion and crossing each other, then we know the momentum on the selling side has kind of diminished, and now buyers are supporting this and moving it up to the upside. But yeah, I mean, these indicators could be misleading, so definitely keep that in mind. They're not 100% foolproof that when they do cross each other, we're going to be in a bull or bear territory. So you definitely, and every time frame is going to indicate something different. So if I look at the 6 hour time frame, yes, we have gotten close to each other, considering we were very far separated between the two moving averages. But once it started coming down, it didn't really converge. It didn't cross each other at this peak here at this top level. So they can be a little misleading. So you definitely want to take them with a grain of salt. Yeah, I'm glad LTC is being recommended. And I've said it before, there's really no reason that this thing hasn't really broken out above 40 to 50 bucks yet. I can't believe it. I can't fathom it. Considering everything else is, breaking crazy new time highs and, breaking every barrier that's out there, especially with ZCASH. It just doesn't make sense at all that it hasn't completely broken out yet. Yeah, we kind of had a little mini run to that 38 bucks. But she hasn't sustained it. She hasn't really gotten close to it. 35, 33, I think was the closest she got to it. But yeah, she's definitely having a hard time. But yeah, so currently right now, if this is correct, I'm down 1.5%, yeah, 135 bucks. But yeah, it is definitely pulling back down. All right, let's look on Ethereum Classic. That 1750 held up pretty well. Yes, she did crack through it just a little bit to 1740, 1743, but really, give or take, the 750 is never 100% accurate, but basically she's maintained that line that I plotted out. So we'll see if she gets a nice running start to break above the 1863. 1857, 1858, and if she does break above the 1858, that's going to be a nice confirmation that yes, this is we are in a bull territory now, and yes, you could easily make that run up to 20 bucks. But as we can see, I mean, RSI tapped out at 89. I'm going to say 90, possibly 90, and of course, once you hit that high of 1859, she pulled back and gave up $1 of its move. So RSI is definitely good to look at, but like I said, with any of these indicators, you want to take them with a grain of salt. You don't want to basically rely on them heavily. But yeah, LTC and ETC today, the two ending in C's, are really the ones that I'm going to be paying attention to see, what, am I going to lock in some of the profit and kind of wait for a dip, or am I going to let this ride? But yeah, LTC is not looking good at all for me today. Yeah, and if there's any cryptocurrencies that you guys want me to take a look at, I think I've looked at everything that you guys have asked me to look at today. Actually, Waves, I'm sorry. Roberto, you did ask me about Waves, so I apologize for not looking at that for you. I don't think Waves is on Poloniex, but let's see. They're definitely on Bittrex. I got my dice out. Okay. Oh, my Sony's not there. All right, Waves. I can't remember yesterday what I said about it, but let's zoom out of this. Yes, but And they're all doing the same thing. I mean, this is a one. I mean, I wish I could look at it on a 30-minute candlestick and be able to zoom out. But on the 1 day candlestick price action movement, yeah, same thing. You know, flag pattern that's forming based on volume. You know, once it hits that wedge, yes, it could possibly, that's usually the magic word, possibly have a nice uptick. But yeah, I wish I could look at this on a zoomed out, smaller time frame. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. Range is definitely getting tighter and tighter. It really is. I mean, that range at one point was, you know, estimate about 176,000 to about 223,000. That was the range. Now the range is getting tighter. Let's see, still got 175,000 to 198,000, and now it's getting even tighter. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. 180,000 to 190,000. So the range is getting tighter to within about 10,000 Satoshi range, and that's kind of what I like to look at to see, you know, how tight is this range getting, or is it having those crazy up and down dips? But it definitely has maintained that support line, and that support line looks to be, give or take, about 175,000 Satoshis. Considering 1, 2, 3 times it attempted to break below it, and it really couldn't break below those that resistance or that support line of 175. So that's a really good indicator. I wish I had funds on Bittrex because I would probably get, you know, put a little bit of skin in the game on waves just to see what it would do, to see if it would pop right back up to that 200,000, 225,000 possibly. But yeah, so let's just say hypothetically, I mean, you know, I had funds in Bittrex and I got into this at 75,000 because that's really a good support area for it. I would be looking to sell at the 220,000. I would be looking to lock in, you know, at least half of my profit at that 221,000 Satoshis. And then if she breaks out above it, you know, I still have a position. I still have half of my position. So I would probably be looking to sell, you know, half of that half of the position to see if she breaks out, or it has at least a confirmed breakout above the 240,000. And if it has a confirmed breakout, yeah, it could easily top out at that 265, 264,000, which was the high that it previously just kind of set. But yeah, this is a very good looking chart pattern, getting ready to flag, getting ready to hit that wedge. And the range is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. When we look at volume, so I mean, if I was thinking about taking a position at that 175, because really by the look of the chart, that does look very, very promising, and it's definitely piqued my interest. But then I got to look at other things to see if everything else is going to coincide with what has piqued my interest so far. And on the buying side, it looks like the volume is about 1.9 million. On the selling side, it's about 597,000. So the buyers are definitely outweighing the sellers there, which is definitely a positive sign. Let's take a look at a little more on the buying side to see where somebody might be stacked up heavily. 1,000. And I'm looking for high numbers on here. I'm not looking for anything. And I mean, 1,000 is not really that high for waves. 3,000 is not even high. You know, anything above 50,000 would kind of pique an interest and say, okay, you know what, there's a good amount of support at the level that I kind of looked at. So the level that I looked at was what, 170, what did I say, 175? So let's take a look at 175 order book and take a look and see exactly, you know, who's stacked up to buy at that 175 level. So 175 doesn't look to be too many, you know, a couple hundred here, 145, 114, 106, 239. So that support at 175 might not actually even be a very good support, considering there aren't a lot of sellers or a lot of buyers that are stacked up at that specific price point. So my resistance or my support that I thought was a support might not be an actual support. So the probability of it being a true support, even though the charts are showing me that it's a true support, considering it's bounced off that level 3 times, the order book is not really indicating that there is that support there. Unless there's somebody on the sideline. But yeah, nothing suspicious for me to say, wow, this is a great area of support. Let me get into this. I mean, I think the most that I saw was 3,000 on the order book. Yeah, nothing impressive with the order book at all. On the selling side, let's see. I wonder, okay, there we go. 12,491 at 189,463. I think that's the biggest one so far. So possibly that 189,000, it could have just a little minor of a hiccup breaking out above it, considering there's a big seller of 12,000 and there aren't too many buyers that are stacked up at that level. But by the looks of the chart, yeah, to have just a little bit of skin in the game, you know, considering it, that the range is getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and it seems like it's leveling out and finding a very happy medium price. It might not be a little bad entry to maybe put 10% of your capital into it to see exactly what it does. Verticoin, I have not covered Verticoin. And welcome, Joe, by the way. I like seeing new people on this live stream, so thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that like button if you find this information helpful, as well as the subscribe button. You know, that's probably one of the most important things. Subscribe to the channel. Click on that post notification so that you're notified every time a video has been uploaded or I schedule a live stream. And then feel free to connect with us. I mean, sign up for our mailing list. And one of the things that we're doing is we're giving away a free membership to our free general chat room. And it's a chat room where you can keep a conversation about cryptocurrencies going with really people that are in the community from all over the world. So there'll always be somebody there that's looking to chat about cryptocurrencies. And then, follow us on Steemit, upvote our videos. This video will be uploaded once YouTube uploads it to YouTube, but I'll go ahead and upload that to Steemit. And then Twitter and Facebook. But yeah, highly recommend signing up for our mailing list because yeah, you'll get access to that free general chat room. But yeah, we can cover Verticoin later on. Jonathan, welcome. How do I feel about Mark Cuban's tweet in regards to BC? Man, I'm a big fan of Mark Cuban. I watch Shark Tank a lot. I was back in the day. I think I was like in high school. I was a Mavericks fan. I basically picked the crappiest team to like because nobody liked the Mavs. So I liked the Mavs at that time. And then of course Mark Cuban bought him out. But yeah, I'm a huge Cuban fan, and I'm surprised he hasn't invested in Bitcoin. I think he should know the possibilities of what Bitcoin can actually do, and for him to put, let's just say $100,000, that's nothing to him. That's pocket change. He probably goes out with his friends and spends $1,000 for dinner and drinks on a nightly basis, especially hitting up high-end clubs. But yeah, for him to not invest in it yet, it's like, that's interesting. Unless he's not telling us that he's investing in it, and he actually is. But yeah, for him to tweet that out is great. I mean, he's got how many followers? Over 7 million followers, and a lot of them are probably not into cryptocurrency or even heard of, Bitcoin or even heard of cryptocurrency in general. So that's great. That is great. That's just going to possibly draw more people in. I mean, imagine if Bill Gates was to tweet that out. I know he doesn't. I don't even think he uses his cell phone. I think the last interview I saw from him, he was like, I don't even use a computer. He's like, I don't have a computer. But imagine if somebody was to use his Twitter account and actually tweet out that he's, putting in a 0.5% of his wealth into Bitcoin. Now, 0.5%, it's nothing to us as we look at it because it's only 0.5%, but 0.5% is a huge amount of money to a billionaire. And 0.5%, I don't even know what his net worth is as of currently right now, but I mean, 0.5% to put into that. Imagine what that would do to the cryptocurrency world. It would definitely get that market cap up to 175, even possibly 200 billion, very quick. So maybe that tweet from Mark Cuban had something to do with getting up over 100 billion market cap. But yeah, I should definitely follow Mark Cuban. I don't follow him on Twitter, but I should. I should shoot him a message and be like, yeah, dude, join the chat room. Would love to see you on there. I think I will actually do that later. I'll follow him and shoot him a message, see if I get a response from him. But yeah, Roberto, not a problem, man. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. All right, come on, ETC. What are you doing to me today? At 1750, it seems to love. It seems like it wants to hug and cuddle 1750. That's not what I want to see. I definitely want to see it form that base at 1750, but I want to see more of a curve to the upside after touching it. And it's just maintaining that 1750, which is somewhat of a positive sign. It's not breaking through that level. considering, you know, I mean, 4 times, 5 times. It just really had a hard time breaking out above it. All right, Ethereum coming down to 259, under 260. BTC 2766. Yeah, it's going to have these corrections. I mean, it's going to have a correction and it's going to bounce right back. And BTC has proven that time over time, especially what it's capable of doing. Especially, you know, sinking down to 1913. I mean, that was a huge drop from 2800, huge. But to come right back up with a vengeance tells you that, you know, it's got a lot of value in it. It might not have the actual true store of value, but it definitely has that transfer of value that all these exchanges really rely on. They rely on BTC. They rely on that BTC to whatever altcoin pair. So people need to buy BTC in order to actually be able to trade some of these altcoins. And anybody new that's coming into the market, what do they got to do? They got to buy at the high. They got to buy at these highs in order for them to basically get into other altcoins from whatever exchange it is that they're using. So it's definitely a positive sign for BTC as more people, more traders kind of piling in to the cryptocurrency world. They got to buy BTC unless they're only using exchanges that have the pairing with USD or whatever fiat currency their country has. So it's definitely a positive sign for BTC. So these dips they're nothing. They're nothing. Not too worried about BTC dipping that far. Yeah, even though I still have a position in Ethereum, I'm not too worried about the dip on Ethereum either. You know, considering, I mean, where it's been and where it's currently at, I mean, that's a huge upward momentum that it's made, upward move. But you know, Litecoin, I am a little worried. I am a little worried about Litecoin, and it happens to be the largest position that I have in it, of over 310 or 310 coins. Yeah, because this thing could easily dip to 25 and just stay at the $25, $26 level. But the level that I bought at 30, 37 seems to be the issue that it's having, you know, for a while, especially when it came down yesterday after I got off the live stream. I mean, it was doing pretty well, you know, getting up to $30.80. I had a hard time when BTC started pulling back a little bit to the 26.75 range. This thing pulled back as well too. But yeah, that $30.37, it's having a hard time. Breaks out above it a little bit and then comes right back down. And then currently, you know, within a previous candlesticks here, it's just basically kind of maintained right underneath that $30.37, which was my entry price. Bill Gates is on YouTube saying Bitcoin is unstoppable. I'm gonna definitely have to find that. Is he live streaming? I don't think he live streams, but if he is, I would definitely love to join his live stream. Yeah, Jonathan, in regards to Mark Cuban, yeah, I don't think he's ready to invest in it yet. He still thinks it's a bubble. I don't think he likes the crazy volatility, the up and down swings. I mean, he's not a trader; he's an investor, so I don't think he can really stomach these $800-900 swings that it's having. I mean, you think about it. You know, for a person in his position, if he's putting a lot of money into it, you know, when it swings $800-900, it's a huge loss or possibly a huge profit. But yeah, for him to throw, like I said, I mean, $100,000 into it is nothing. If he loses it, that's nothing to him. In comparison to the potential growth that $100,000 could generate for him. Yeah, but yeah, he believes in it, but he's still kind of stuck in limbo about investing in it. He sees the technology behind it and how beneficial it could be later on down the road. But yeah, he thinks it's a bubble and he doesn't believe in the true valuation of it. And I think with Mark Cuban, he looks at valuation. That's probably his biggest thing. Is the valuation correct? And to a lot of people, valuation of BTC is not correct. You know, they think it's overvalued. To a lot of people, they think it's undervalued because it's not at that $5,000 to $10,000 range. No, you definitely didn't take his tweet the wrong way. Not at all. No, he's hesitant about BTC. He likes it, but he's hesitant about putting money into it. Yeah, there's a lot of things, you know, Rocky Mountain High. There's a lot of things that, you know, BTC has going that could definitely, you know, keep the price point from moving up to all-time highs. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening. So, yeah, and the fees being one of them. Segregated witness, you know, user activated soft fork, hard fork. There's a lot of things. So, there's definitely going to be volatility in BTC. It's an old video. Okay. Yeah, and say I haven't seen anything with Bill Gates talking about, you know, Bitcoin. Oh, Jonathan, that's a good question. And somebody did ask this question a while back, and it was like, you know, right before I got off the live stream, and I didn't get a chance to answer that question. But Jonathan's asking, you know, are you required to report your earnings from this kind of trading during tax season? Yes, 100%, absolutely. Unless you want the tax man knocking on your door, you know, 16 months down the road after you file your taxes and saying, hey, Coinbase just gave us a report on you on your trading activities, and we don't see that listed. We don't see your capital gains listed. Now, if you had capital loss, yeah, they're not going to care. They're not going to come knocking on your door. They're just going to be like, "Oh, nice, he had capital loss, and he didn't write it off against his income. That's great." But yeah, if you have capital gains, you definitely got to write. You got to claim those, man. You have to. I pay my taxes. You know, I mean, it takes me forever. I do my own taxes, and I mean, it takes me forever because I have so many trades, especially in the stock market, to be able to put in. And it's not easy at all. It's very time consuming. I think with cryptocurrency, it's even going to be harder when I do my taxes in 2018 because with some of these exchanges, yeah, I'm paying a fee, but they don't tell me what the fee is. It's not on there. So if I look at my fills, and actually we'll take a look at it real quick. And we're looking at Litecoin. So let's look at what have I traded really the most? I think Ethereum, not Ethereum BTC, Ethereum USD was what I really have traded the most. But yeah, I mean, these are, you know, all my buys and sells. So, I mean, it tells me exactly, you know, what price I bought it at, what price I sold it, but it doesn't tell me the commission that I paid. And I know I paid commission on some of these things. So when I do my taxes, it's not going to be 100% accurate because if I did pay a commission, you know, I'm not going to be able to deduct that from, you know, from the capital gains. Even though the commission is $14, but in the long run, I mean, the more times that you're doing that and paying commission, it definitely adds up in the long run. So I'm going to be basically, you know, underflating, or really, yeah, underflating the capital gains by a little bit because I don't have that data unless Coinbase decides to put that data out there and saying, okay, you know what, you bought this at this price, this is how much commission you paid for it. I think Bitfinex is probably notorious for that, where they don't really tell me. Let me look at Bitfinex real quick under reports. Order history, 2017. Let's go past 3 months. Let's see. I can see if you can tell me about the fee. Average execution price, the amount, executed amount. Yeah, they don't even tell me the fees on here. I mean, there should be a section that says fees. This is how much you paid in fees, but they're not. So it makes it a little tough for me to do my taxes. I've been trying to keep a spreadsheet, but this has been tough for me to kind of log everything in there. But I've tried my best, you know, especially once I buy something and I know how much I paid in commission, to just put it on that spreadsheet. And yeah, I haven't, let me look at the spreadsheet real quick. And I haven't really touched a spreadsheet in a while. But yeah, and this isn't really accurate of my profit. But basically, I mean, you guys know that I started out with $8,000, $8,033, and I think right now, if I was to total up, you know, what I have, it's right around 17,000 total that I have. But yeah, but a buddy of mine made this, and Scott M, if you're, I know you listen to this live stream, because sometimes you'll shoot me a text message. But yeah, if you're watching this live stream or listening to this live stream, thank you so much for creating this spreadsheet for me to be able to track my my buys and my sells. So I got a tab for GDAX, Gemini, I haven't put anything on there, Bitfinex a little bit, Bittrex nothing, Poloniex nothing. Even though I do have trades in Poloniex and Bittrex, I haven't had the time to put them on there. But I need to really spend at least a day to go in and backtrack and put in every trade that I've actually made. But really, I've only taken 2 losses. The first loss was, of course, on Steam, where I bought it at 20,000 Satoshis, got tired of it, wasn't making the move that I wanted to make, sold it at 18,000 Satoshis. That was basically the first hit that I took. The second hit really wasn't a hit. I just sold a portion of my position at a loss, and that loss was So this one shows negative 875, and that's because I haven't sold yet. So that's still part of the 150 that I'm holding on Ethereum Classic, where I did sell some of it and locked in the profit. So this one shows that I'm down 100%. I'm not down 100% because I haven't sold that position yet, but I put down 0 as the sale price because it hasn't been sold yet. But I did take a loss, and it was like $85 loss because I sold just a little bit of the coins. Just because I wanted to basically kind of minimize my possible bigger loss if it was going to have a bigger loss. I was like, you know what, let me just lock in a little bit, take a little bit of a hit. Took I think it was like an $87 hit on that. But then when I sold the rest, I sold them at a very large profit. So yes, it is a loss, but not really, because after I sold the combined total, it ended up being in the profit pretty big. But yeah, this isn't accurate at all because I haven't really gone in and done much. But it shows overall that I'm up 7%. But overall, I'm up probably a good 110%, something to that extent, currently this year from January 1st. But yeah, so you definitely got to pay taxes at the end of the year, and the IRS really doesn't care. It's, I mean, if you made those trades, they're going to expect you to put those on your tax return. Yeah, I guess the only way that you wouldn't have to report the earnings is, let's just say you buy, a buttload of Bitcoin and you start spending the Bitcoin. Then, yeah, you don't have to pay taxes on that at all. Even though, let's say you bought Bitcoin at $1,000 and you bought a good amount, it's up to 2,000. Yes, you made 100% profit. Unless you sell to fiat, you're not going to have to report that, to my understanding, because you could actually just spend that on, different merchants that accept Bitcoin. But I know that especially too, if you're going from alt to alt, they're going to require you. It's not really set in stone yet. They haven't really, stated that, but they are going to require you to really figure out the numbers and say, okay, you know what, you bought Bitcoin at this price, you sold it at this price when you were exchanging it. Well, basically, when you're exchanging it to a different altcoin, you're basically selling that Bitcoin for that altcoin. But they're going to want to know, okay, you bought it at this price. When you exchanged it, what was the price of Bitcoin? So if the price of Bitcoin was 1,500 and you bought it at 1,000, your profit on that was $500 per coin. And then your new entry, whatever altcoin you transfer it to, would be the initial price, whatever that transfer was at that point. What was the price of that? And then if it goes up and you sell it, they're going to want to know exactly what price. So you really got to keep a detailed record of your entries, just to make it easy at tax season next year. I know I'm going to have a little bit of a hard time, but hopefully, going forward, it can get a little easier for me. And then, for when I do taxes for 2018 and 2019, I'll actually have a better system to be able to track everything. But somebody did mention, I forget who it was, and I haven't really researched it yet, but there's a site called, I think it's Bitcoin Tax or Tax Bitcoin, but it might be bitcointax.com. And you can actually, what they'll do is they'll basically take all your trades from, a couple different exchanges and be able to basically total up for you and let you know what your profit loss, your profit gains are. But I haven't researched it yet. But once I do research it and I start using it, and if I think it's a valuable tool, I will definitely let you guys know, especially if you're placing a lot of trades. It's just so much easier to try to have something figure everything out for you, especially if you're going from BTC to alt or alt to alt. It should be able to track that for you. You're right, or just take it out of the ATM. You could easily do that because you're not selling. Yeah, so if you have a what is the Shift card from Coinbase, you can actually spend your Bitcoins that way by using it at any point of sale terminals or going to an ATM and withdrawing cash. Tracy, great recommendation. Tracy's basically telling John, take small amounts of profits out at a time, easy to dance around unless your gains are too high or too huge. The exchanges will know whale-sized gains. Yeah, they will know whale-sized gains. They know everything. I mean, they know exactly where we're placing our trades, and they can definitely trade against us, especially if they see, short sellers just stacked up at a specific price point, or if basically there's a lot of buyers that are stacked up at a very specific price point. They can say, you know what, we're going to undercut them and just get in, before everybody else gets in and causes the price to go up. So they have a lot more data, and they can cause a lot more manipulation. Steven, yeah, I can't post it here. If you're part of our Slack, there are a couple glitches that we need to fix. Once I kind of talk to my buddy Scott. We'll fix those glitches, and as long as he's okay with it, I'll have to get his permission, because he really did create it for me. He didn't create it for me to kind of spread around, but as long as it's okay with him, then I will share that with the members that are on our Slack chat room. But there are a couple little glitches that we have to kind of fix, and once they're fixed, we'll definitely, as long as I have his permission, I'll definitely share that with everybody. Yeah, I did that, Kane, welcome, by the way. I did that, the CSV file, and yeah, it took me a little while to kind of finagle it a little bit, but yeah, it was a lot better than having to enter every single trade, line by line, and I did that last year, or not last year, the year before that, and that was just very time consuming, and for 2016, I had a lot more trades than I did for 2016, or for 2015, so I definitely use that, but I don't know how that's going to work with cryptocurrency. But yeah, it's definitely something to try, and if it works out, that's great. As long as the IRS doesn't send me letters 16 months down the road. Jay, welcome. I don't think he's on here, but Mel, I call him Meloz, M-E-L-O-Z. You'll definitely see him on this live stream, especially on the chat. He's from Australia, so he might have a little bit of insight about the Australian tax on BTC for you. So if you see Mel or Meloz, definitely ask him that question. It's great being in Dubai where there's no tax. A lot of people send you money from Europe to trade for them. I'm not sure if they can benefit for the tax-free status. At least it would be just one entry. Yeah, I would still be careful with that. I don't know how Dubai systems function, but the person that's from Europe sending you money to buy Bitcoin for them, and then sending the Bitcoin, when if they end up getting audited, they could say, okay, you know what, why did you send this money overseas, and why are you receiving this money overseas? It could be a little complicated. Jonathan, what would I say a good amount is to start with? What did I start with? And also, how long have I been trading? Well, it all depends. When you say trading, how long have I been trading what market? If we're talking about the stock market, way over 11 years. The cryptocurrency market, I first bought Bitcoin March 3rd, I'm going to say. March 2014 is when I first bought Bitcoin, but I was still trading the traditional financial market. And then Bitcoin, of course, dropped in December of 2014 to like 175, and I just kind of gave up and said, all right, well, I guess I lost that money, considering I bought it at 487 bucks, and I just completely forgot about it until not long ago. It was a little before January. It was like a couple days before Christmas. I happened to be on StockTwit, and somebody just kind of got fed up with big losses that they were taking, and they were like, I'm taking my money and going to Bitcoin. I was like, whoa, I do own Bitcoin. Let me look at it real quick. And when I looked at it, the price was 800 bucks. And I was like, all right, when I first bought Bitcoin, all these altcoins didn't exist at all. And the market cap was nothing back then. And the exchanges didn't exist. I mean, GDAX did not exist at all. So, I mean, Gemini, of course, didn't exist. I'm sure Bittrex and Bitfinex didn't exist. Kraken might have existed at that time. Or Bitstamp existed at that time. Mt. Gox existed at that time. But yeah, GDAX really, or Coinbase didn't have GDAX. So when I looked at it prior to December, I was like, whoa, there's all these exchanges. I need to get into this market. I mean, this is just a new market. It's getting hot. Let me get out of this financial market that's just been causing me nothing but stress. Yeah, it's great to have the weekends off. It's great, after 4 p.m., majority of the trading ends. And then you got after hours from 4 to 8. After 8, there was nothing that was moving. But yeah, cryptocurrency is just a lot more fun. It's a lot more volatile. There's crazy up and down swings. So that's kind of why I started getting into Bitcoin. But in regards to your question, how much should you start out with? I really can't tell you how much you personally should start out with. I would just kind of look at the money you have and say, okay, you know what? These are the bills I have to pay on a regular basis. But you know what? I do have an extra X amount of dollars, and I don't really care. Well, not that I don't care, but, if you lost it, it's not the end of the world. And if that's the case, whatever that might be, that's what I would trade with. Now, can you start with $100? Yes, you definitely can start with $100. You can start with $50. Now, your profits might be very limited. And it might be a little discouraging because you're starting out with $100. You're not able to take a very good sizable position to really see the profits kind of grow. If something goes up and you have a good amount of leverage, yes, you're going to see the profit, the dollar amount be a lot higher. But if you're starting out with $100, I wouldn't even look at the dollar amount in profits, I would look at the percentage. Okay, you know what? $100, you make 10% is $10. Don't look at the $10. Look at the 10%. It'll actually motivate you to keep trading and get better at trading. But yes, you can start out with $100. But my honest opinion, I mean, if you really want to get into this game, and you have the money to do it, and just to get a better sizable position, to see that profit be a little better than $10, I would say probably anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. If you have that money to spare, then you're able to get in on a nice position and be able to see that profit kind of grow. The other question, how much should I start out with? So I basically transferred $8,033, and I think that was the exact amount, $8,033. I transferred some to Coinbase, transferred some to Gemini, and bought load of Ethereum on Gemini. I think it was like 270 at a very cheap price of like 18, $19. I forget what it was. It was dirt cheap. And if I, like I said, hindsight is 2020. If I want to know what Ethereum was going to do, I would have held on to those 270. But I transferred them to Coinbase or to GDAX, and then I started trading those. But yeah, I basically started out with 8,000, but I wasn't trading the whole 8,000 at that time. But I wanted to just kind of get money into those two accounts, and I was just basically transferring money every single day, whatever my limit was, just to kind of get some money out of the stock market and get it away from the market. So I'm not really back in the market. I wanted to kind of get some of my money out of there, and that's kind of what I did. So every day on Gemini, I would transfer $1,000. So my limit was $500 per day. But their next day kind of rolls over at 5 p.m. Eastern time zone. So at 4:50, at 4:55, make a $500 deposit. At 5:01, I can make another $500 deposit. That $1,000 is available instantly right away for me to start using and trading. Can't transfer it to a different exchange, but I could use that to start trading right away. So I started with 8,000, and that's pretty high. A lot of people don't have $8,000 to kind of start out with. But if you really want to get some skin in the game, I would say minimum, $1,000, $1,500 if you're able to do it. Now, if you got bills to pay, things like that, you need it for food, you need it for medicine for your kids, whatever it might be. Don't trade it. Do not trade it. Because you could lose it. Yes, you could make a little bit of money, but you could also lose it. And if you lose it, then you're out of the game. And really, the name of the game is to stay in the game as long as you can, and to not let this game take you out. Take your profit, take your capital to where you can't really trade again. So every day, you want to survive this game, and it is a game. It is somewhat, to an extent, gambling. I mean, I've had this conversation with a lot of people about whether it's gambling or it's not gambling. Yes or no? I mean, we basically kind of agree to disagree. Yes, it's a form of gambling, but when you're looking at the probabilities of what your probabilities are, and if your probabilities are high based on these indicators that you're looking at versus, based on, your trend lines that you're plotting out and everything that you're looking at and taking all that information and coming up with a very well educated, scenario of what that cryptocurrency might do. It might not be gambling to an extent, but if you're just going in blind and really playing the hype and chasing the hype, yeah, that's pure gambling. You're not really looking at this on the technical side and saying, what's a good entry for me? What are the possibilities of this really hitting this level and crashing back down? It's done it 5 times. The probabilities of it crashing again are very likely. They're very high. And I've used that analogy before. We're going to a restaurant. If you go to a restaurant 3 to 4 times, the service is bad and the food is bad, what do you think is going to happen the 4th or 5th time? Is the outcome going to be different? Probably not. The outcome is going to be the same. And that's the same thing with cryptocurrency. So if you're really looking at the technical side and really analyzing the chart and taking a lot of information and putting it all together, then you're doing your homework. It's not 100% gambling. But if you're just looking at something and something is going up, an altcoin that you never heard of, that you never really analyzed, and it's just going up and up, and you just have to get in it, that's pure gambling to me. Sorry I kind of rambled on there for a second. So hopefully I answered your question, Jonathan. About where what I started out with, and how much I think people should have to start out with. But you can really start out with any amount, $100, $50, just to kind of get into the game, get into the habit of looking at these trades. And if you lose that $50, it's $50, But if you put in $2,000, $3,000 and you lose that $2,000, $3,000, then yeah, that's huge. That can be very discouraging. You're not going to want to come back and play this game and understand the psychology of trading and be able to basically beat this game. And that's a goal. And that's a goal of creating CryptoTraders Room, is to collectively work as a team to beat this game. And we can do it easily. Yeah, Steven, not a problem, man. Not a problem at all. And Kane, welcome again. Let's see what the Dubai review's saying. I got to scroll up because I missed some of these comments. Yeah, Kane, 100%, man. You know, and I say it all the time. And if you watch any of my previous videos, I've said it numerous times. Learn to capture the percentage and not worry about the dollar amount. And if Logan was on here, I don't think Logan's run is on here, but that's something I emphasized to him, you know, a long time ago. You know, because he was basically starting out with a. I mean, he's an early investor. Let me just tell you this. You know, he was buying Bitcoin and buying Ethereum when it was just dirt cheap, when a lot of us weren't even thinking about cryptocurrencies. So he's a very long-term investor, but he wanted to learn how to trade. And that's how he just, you know, continuously came on to these live streams and asked questions. And you know, he started out with something very small. And I said to him, I said, you know, considering you're starting out with something very small, you know, look at the percentage gains. Don't look at the dollar amount. So yeah, so looking at the percentage gains is huge. You know, if you tell me you made 50%, you know, on $10, I'm like, dude, that's awesome. But if you say to somebody, hey, I made $5, they're gonna be like, you spent all that time making $5, but it's 50% of what I started out with. That's huge. That is huge. Yes, work on profit loss ratio. I mean, you have to know, and the one thing is, you know, you have to know what your goal is. You know, so you have to set a goal for yourself before you even think about trading. I mean, don't even think about trading unless you kind of have a defined goal, and you have to stick to that plan. You have to stick to that goal. So, you know, and it has to be something realistic. It has to be something that's attainable, but give yourself a dollar amount and say, you know what, this is what I would like to make on a daily, monthly, weekly, whatever it is basis. And just make it attainable. Make it something that's reasonable. Don't say, oh, I want to make $100,000 in a year. That might be very unattainable, you know, because, you know, you could have other circumstances that arise. I mean, you know, starting out with $100 in capital to trade and saying you're going to make you want to make $100,000, you know, in a year. It's very unrealistic. It's very unattainable. It might be a little discouraging if you don't get to that point. But just say, you know what, I'm starting out with $100, and I want to make, you know, $20 every week. That's a 20% profit on a weekly basis that you're making, and your money is just going to end up growing. You know, within a month, you know, let's just say there's 4 weeks in that month, you're making $80, you know, on that original $100 investment. So you really got to look at your goal and set a goal and say, you know what, this is what I want to make. And once you start really making that, you know, 20% or $20, whatever it is that you set for yourself, then you can kind of start increasing that, because as you get better at trading, you're going to be basically getting a more of a sizable position in something. And you're going to be able to pick out, you know, where the strong support is and be able to get in at the support instead of getting in at just any price point and hoping that it goes up. And I've said it before, hope is not a strategy. So don't trade on hope at all. You know, don't just get into something and hope that it goes up. Have a plan of action, stick to that plan and execute that plan. And over the long run of being consistent with that plan, you're going to see that account grow and grow and grow. And you just have to stick to your plan. And as long as you stick to it, you know, you'll be perfectly fine. My goal, I'll share with you guys, is $300 a day. There has been times I made it. There's been times that I haven't made it, but I'm not going to say, you know, I want to make, you know, $500 a day. You know, I'm not, because it's a little unrealistic at this point right now. But $300 for me on a daily basis, it's very reasonable, and I've done that before. Let's see, Jonathan, you have $5,000 saved up to pay some of your school debt. Should I just invest it all and try to grow it, or pay off more debt? I always say, you know, and I forget who I was saying this to, but, you know, being rich to me is not having a lot of money. Being rich to me is being debt free, you know, having a house that's paid off. Now, I'm getting ready to go in probably one of the biggest debts of my life of buying a house. You know, hopefully everything goes well, and closing date is June 30th. But that's going to be the biggest debt. So, you know, I'm going to be basically dirt poor, to be honest with you. But rich to me is, you know, having a house, it's paid off, you know, not having any debt at all, not paying anybody any interest. Right now, I don't have any debt. I mean, you know, I use my credit card and I'll charge it up. I use it for everything. I earn, you know, 1.5 reward, and I pay it right off at the end of the month, where I don't pay any interest at all. So being debt free to me is being rich. So that's one thing I would highly recommend, is if you have debt, your interest rate on your student debt, I mean, it could vary. You know, I just took care of my wife's student loans, basically paid off, basically 30 out of 35,000, and we paid off just the high interest rate ones, the ones that were like 6.5, 6.8, and we kind of left the 3.4 sitting there. So what I would recommend with that 5,000 is depending on the interest rate that you're paying on your loans, because you have subsidized and you also have unsubsidized loans, and there all could be different variable interest rates, is to start paying off the higher interest rate ones, as quick as you can. The lower interest rate, yeah, you're still making monthly payments, and some of those monthly payments are going towards the capital. They're going towards the principal as well as going towards the interest. But you don't want the ones that have a high interest rate to be sitting there, because majority of that payment is going to be going to paying a higher interest rate. So get rid of those high interest rate subsidized or unsubsidized loans that you have, and then keep the little ones. And then if you have money left over, yeah, put it in. But yeah, try to get out of debt. That's one thing I would highly recommend to anybody that has debt. You'll sleep better at night, waking up in the morning not knowing that you owe anybody any money. Yeah, so my situation is going to be a little different after June 30th once I sign on that dotted line. And, my soul is basically owned to the banks, but hopefully cryptocurrency can get me out of that funk and get me to basically pay off my mortgage and just say, here you go, greedy, evil bank. I'm going to give you back your money you lent me. I don't want to ever deal with you again. Cryptocurrency is the way of the future. But yeah, get out of debt. That's something I highly recommend. There's two things in life that you cannot escape. And let me know what those two things in life are and see if anybody gets them right. So two things in life that you cannot escape. Oh, actually, three things in life. I'm sorry, three things in life that you cannot escape. Yes, Kane. Absolutely, man. Never risk what you can't afford to lose. No one can make that decision for you. And that's one thing I talk about too is, there are people that are just hyping coins left and right, and they're hyping it and hyping it and hyping it, and they're telling you to buy in, and you're buying into the FOMO. If it crashes, who are you going to blame? You're not going to blame the person that told you to buy it. You have to blame yourself because you were the one that took action on following somebody else's recommendation. Do your due diligence, do your own research. Don't buy something because somebody's telling you to buy it. That's the biggest mistake that anybody could ever make, because there's a lot of manipulation that happens on YouTube, on Twitter. People are really telling you to buy it and to buy it and to buy it, but they're not telling you to buy it when they're buying it when it's bare bottom. They're telling you to buy it after they've accumulated everything that they want to accumulate. Then they're telling you to buy it so they can cause the price to go up, and then they're going to be selling. And after they sell, they're going to be telling you to sell it after they get out. So definitely take what they say with a grain of salt. Let's see what Jonathan's saying. School loans can wait. School loans can wait, can't they? I like to be out of debt, and I'm out of debt. And everybody has their own personal preference. Yeah, they can wait, but you're paying interest. Why pay that interest? Why not just get out of debt and not have to pay, a financial institution interest? You basically put that money back into your business or put it into cryptocurrency. But like I said, you don't have to pay all of it off, but at least get rid of some of the high interest rate ones. Let's see what you guys are saying. So there's three things that you cannot escape, and Rocky Mountain High and Stefan got two of them correct. Death and taxes. Yeah. So normally there's two things that you cannot escape, and death and taxes are one of them. But yeah, there's one other one that a lot of people really don't mention. So let's see if you guys get the third one correct. Sex, death, and taxes. Oh, Kane, that's funny, buddy. Thank you. I needed that laugh. Did you bite? I think we covered it, but yeah, we'll definitely cover it. So we got death and taxes, and then we got sex, death, and taxes. Let's see, Jay, you're saying, what about buying the BTC from Coinbase and just trading alts? You can. I mean, if you're trading on Coinbase or GDAX, you're very limited. So what you have to do is buy from Coinbase, or really, I wouldn't recommend buying from Coinbase. Buy from GDAX, and then you can take that BTC and transfer it to any exchange that does the BTC alt pairs. Yeah, the top 40. I look at really the top 15, mainly the top 10, but top 15. But yeah, really anything in the top 40. Let's see. Godfried is saying death, growth, and your shadow. Yeah, your shadow will always follow you wherever you go. Death, taxes, and FOMO. Mortgage man, death contract. Yes, ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner. Turkey dinner or chicken dinner. But yeah, so it's basically death, taxes, and debt. Those are really the three things you cannot escape. Certain debt will basically carry over to your family or to your state. Let's see. Stefan saying, recommend keeping in touch with BTC long term. This is one of the few that are certain to me. Also, sometimes you buy Litecoin from Coinbase as it's faster to transfer to an exchange to trade. I don't know, man. Litecoin took forever. 4.5 hours. I was transferring, I think, maybe 200 Litecoins from GDAX to Bitfinex. 4.5 hours it took. And I would have paid a fee. I would have paid the gas fee, but they just didn't give me the option to pay the gas fee. But that was an attempt for an arbitrage, because at one point Bitfinex was a lot higher than GDAX. Mortgage means death. Yeah, dude. Debt means death. It's like the world is just basically just sitting on your shoulder when you have so much debt. And when I had tons of debt, I mean, I had tons of school debt, credit card debt, car debt. I mean, I'm completely out of debt now. But yeah, it sucked, man. I would wake up every morning and just be like, God, there's just this thing just hanging over my head, and I couldn't get rid of it until I paid off my debt. Once I paid off my debt, I'm like, wow, I feel like the world had just lifted off my shoulder, and I feel so much better. I wake up in the morning feeling better. But yeah, debt will definitely do that to you. Yeah, no GDAX in Australia. Yeah, I remember Mel talking about that. So I guess you have to use Coinbase. You're either going to pay a premium when you buy, or you're going to be, selling at a cheaper price than you should be selling in comparison to the exchanges. You have no debt, one truck payment at 3.2% interest rate with 4 years left. That's not bad. 3%, 3.2 is not bad at all, bud. Yeah, and it doesn't hurt. I mean, to pay a little bit off. So let's just say, your car payment's $300 bucks. Pay 320. You're not going to really miss that 20 bucks, but it'll make a big difference in knocking off time from that 4 years. So I always highly recommend, whatever you owe, pay a little bit more. And that's what we're going to do with our mortgages. If we have the extra funds available, we're going to throw extra 200 to 250 to get rid of the principal as much as we can. Kane, before you go, let's see. You really like NIM and XEM at the moment. Transfer is instant, very surprising. Yeah, I mean, transfer is instant with a lot of these cryptocurrencies. I don't think that's an issue. The issue is probably the development team and the growth outlook that they might have. But yeah, you have a great day, Kane, or a great night wherever you're located. I'm not sure, but yeah, thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate it. Yes, Dylan, you're absolutely right, man. I am a slave to the owner of my debt, and the bank is the owner of the debt. They own that house, and it's just, yeah, it's going to hang over me for a long time, unless I can get very, very good at this cryptocurrency, and not that I'm not good at it, but make a larger of a profit. And if that's the case, then yeah, I could pay off that house in no time. But yeah, let me take a quick break, guys. And I knew this live stream was going to end at 11:30, but my wife is so kind enough to take the 2 kids out, so I do kind of have the house to myself. So we'll definitely keep this live stream going, and take a look at some of the cryptocurrencies, especially with ETC kind of just hitting that 1750 and maintaining that 1750 like we talked about. So it is forming some sort of a flag pattern within the past, couple hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. but we'll see if that 1750 is really going to hold, and it has to hold. In order for this to really be in bullish territory, it has to hold that 1750 and hold it pretty well. So yes, it can dip below it a little bit, but it has to come right back up to it and just tread within that line. But let me mute this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll be right back. All right, so let's see. Dylan, what are you saying here? House is I think I missed the message. House is an asset, though, versus loan. Yeah, and the one thing about taking a loan out is the banks are basically making 70% return on the loan. So on a 30-year mortgage, especially with the interest rate being right at 4%. So in actuality, well, 71% really they're making return on over 30 years. So in actuality, a $200,000 house, you're going to end up over the 30 years paying $340,000 for that house after everything is said and done with the interest rate, the closing costs, everything that's associated with buying a house. That's a huge profit that they're making. So when you go to sell, yeah, it is an asset. It is something that appreciates, but is it going to appreciate within 30 years to regain that $140,000 that you paid extra in fees? So that's a huge debt. That's a huge debt to have. And life is so much better when you're debt-free, Tracy. Yes, you couldn't have said it any better. Let's see, Steven's saying, we have mortgage where your whole salary pays off the mortgage to help lower interest rate. That's interesting. Then you withdraw on your home loan via credit card, thereby your money always working for you. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, like, once you really build equity, yes, you could take out a line of credit based on the equity that you built on the house and reinvest that money, depending on the interest rate on that line of credit that you kind of draw on it. So that is something we're going to do later on as we build equity and as it appreciates. We're going to get a line of credit out for it. And as long as that line of credit interest rate is low, I might really take that money and reinvest it and not reinvest it into the house because the house is really in great condition, doesn't need any fixing, but to reinvest it into something that's a little more beneficial and that's going to have a higher return. So in actuality, we might be able to take that, $20,000 that it appreciated, take a line of credit out, take half of it out, and put it into a solid cryptocurrency for long-term investment. Let's see, I know I'm missing some of these comments. Yeah, with any mortgage, with any loan, you always want to pay more than the interest rate. Let's see. Godfried is asking, what amount of profit do you think is realistic with a $2,000 USD investment in crypto? Well, depending on how diversified you are, yeah, $2,000 could really make you a good amount of return. I can't really say exactly how much, depending, what risk reward ratio you're looking at and where you're looking to lock in profits. But you could definitely do a good amount of work with $2,000, and later on, really, that's kind of my goal, is my plan. Once I buy this house, because I'm going to have to take money out of investments that I have, as well as cryptocurrency, to come up with a huge down payment. But really, what I plan on doing after that is really taking $2,000 and trying to see exactly, within X amount of time, what I could do with that $2,000 and only trade $2,000 and nothing more, and try not to even utilize margin, because then I can leverage a lot more if I utilize margin. But yeah, that's going to be the goal later on, is for me to take, and it'll be almost like a $2,000 challenge. See if I can take 2,000 and turn it into 10,000, 500% profit. But yeah, you could definitely make a lot of money off $2,000 if you play it right. And if you're consistent with your trades and you stick to your plan and you're not, feeding into the hype of some of these cryptocurrencies that go up like crazy and then they come crashing back down, because yeah, you could buy at the top. Now, if you get in, at a good price point on some of these altcoins that are just, going skyrocket and mooning, then yeah, you could easily turn that 2,000 into 10,000. But if you get in at the top, then yeah, you're going to be losing a lot of that capital. Matt, take care, man. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, see you on Friday. Unless something crazy happens tomorrow. Set a limit for yourself. That's my honest opinion on that $2,000. Say, you know what? I'm happy with a 10% profit on a daily basis. 10% profit, on $2,000 is going to add up in the long run. Just set a realistic goal. Don't set, a high unrealistic goal and say, you know what, I'm going to make 30% on a daily basis. Shoot for 5, for 10 on a daily basis and be consistent with that. And as long as you're consistent with that, there are going to come time when you actually end up hitting a home run. But as long as you're going up to bat and you're being consistent with your trades, and you're batting to get on first, batting to get on second, batting to get on third, eventually you're going to hit that home run where you're going to make 50%, 60% return. But yeah, if you shoot for, $100 a day, that's $500 a week, 5 days, Monday through Friday, not including the weekends. If you trade on the weekends, yeah, $700. Shoot for $100 a day on that $2,000. I think that's realistic. Yeah, the Dubai review. Yeah, the charts will definitely tell you the story. Yeah, even though fundamentals are great, you got to take the fundamentals with a grain of salt, to be honest with you. But technical analysis doesn't lie. It doesn't lie at all. It tells you what the story is. It tells you, the battle that's going on between the bulls and the bears. But yeah, fundamentals could be skewed, could be biased. Especially if you're on their website and you're reading about, the tech behind the cryptocurrency, it's going to be all great things about it. Yeah, you definitely need some sort of like a unbiased review of their fundamentals. Stefan has mentioned that, and I know that message was geared towards Tracy. But you believe that the housing market is in a bubble in Australia for years, but never comes as more Chinese investors keep propping up market. And it's funny that you say the Chinese investors, because I work for a bank. I worked for a bank for years. I won't say what bank it is, but it's the fifth largest bank in the U.S. And I'm in an area where we got tons of college students. There's about 45,000 college students, and a lot of them are international students. They're here for a year, 2 years from China. A lot of people from the Middle East, and they got tons of money. So what the Chinese students were doing was that their parents were basically using them as an investment mule. They would wire them in increments, and they would have different wires coming in from different people, because you're really limited to how much you can transfer out at one time. But they would get $750,000, $800,000, within a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, wired into their account, and they're looking to wire it out to a property management, and we would always have to ask them qualifying questions as where the money came from, where's the money going, and a lot of them would say, oh, my parents gave me money to buy a house. Their parents are basically using them as an investment mule to buy up properties, because there is a clause, and it's not with every investment company, but there is a clause. I don't know if it's in the U.S. Constitution or where it might be, but in regards to residency. So, if there is somebody that's not a permanent resident and they're looking to get residency in the U.S., as long as they have a combined total investment of $500,000 or more, it kind of gives them the green light to get permanent residency in the U.S. Now, it doesn't give them citizenship, but it does give them permanent residency. So there is a plan out there where, in the U.S., if you're investing $500,000 or more, you can get permanent residency, and that's what a lot of them are doing. So, with a lot of them, where are they going to put their money? They're going to put their money into a housing, because the house will hopefully appreciate, and it'll be physically there, instead of putting it into the U.S. stock market. But yeah, if they're investing in properties, it's because they probably want to get some sort of permanent residency, especially in the U.S. That's how it works. I'm not sure how it is in Australia. But yeah, I dealt with a lot of students from China. A lot of them are 18, 19 years old. They're coming up here for a year or 2 years to study English, but for some reason they're buying up properties left and right in the town that I'm living in. So the housing market was the best investment over crypto the last few years. Yeah, that'll definitely change though. That'll definitely change. I mean, look at how far the market cap has grown. Not every coin is going to survive. There'll be new ones that come out and do great. There'll be old ones that kind of die off, but you're still going to have your core of cryptocurrencies that will always survive and always be there. And of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin will always be there. Dash. Yeah, and it's almost the same thing too, Stephen, where properties in a well-populated area, it's going to have more of an influx investment in those properties, especially in the town that I live in, where investors are really buying up all these condos because they know they can rent them out for $1,500, $1,600 a month. And in the beginning, when we were looking for some of these condos, and our plan was to basically live in it for 5-6 years and then turn into an investment property to have income coming in on a monthly basis. But before you even get a chance to look at them, I mean, they're already sold to an investor cash. I mean, when they come in with cash, I mean, they're going to go up quick, and that's exactly what's happening in the market that I'm in. When you got 45,000 students, and they're always building new things, rent keeps going up. The demand is there. The supply is not there to back up the demand. Dubai review, that's pretty good. So Dubai review is indicating, he started with $10,000 and turned it into 30,000. That's awesome. Now he's trading 70,000. But 40, I don't know if that's 40% or 40,000, but 40 is from others. And you're running with a goal of 5% a day. That's perfect. 5% a day is very reasonable, very attainable. And the higher amount that you're really, using, the higher capital that you use, and that 5% is huge. Stefan, let's see what you're saying. You guys have an entrepreneur visa. Yeah, so a lot of countries will have that. Just the terms are different. Not for property, but many come over to start a dud import business that gets them the visa. Yeah, so basically they start a shell company. And as long as they're pumping money into it, yeah, I mean, they'll meet the guidelines to get that permanent visa. But yeah, I think I got to all the questions. If I did miss a question, I apologize. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of these cryptocurrencies, and then I do have to end this live stream, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. If you find this information helpful, please click on that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend subscribing and clicking on the post notification so that you're notified every time the video is uploaded or I schedule these live streams, especially when I do kind of spur of the moment live stream. I definitely want you guys to be notified and be able to join the live stream. But please sign up for our mailing list on CryptoTradersRoom.com. There are links at the bottom of this video. And by signing up to our mailing list, we will give you access to our free general chat room. It's a great chat room for you to be able to converse with people that are like-minded and into cryptocurrencies from all over the world. And that room is really growing on a day-to-day basis. So if you're already on that free chat room, welcome. And I know I haven't really been on there to welcome everyone, but definitely welcome. And I hope you guys are having a great conversation. And don't be afraid to direct message me, especially if you direct message me, I'll be able to get the email notification on my phone saying, hey, you got a message on Slack. So if I'm not on my computer, I'll be able to respond to it. But yeah, I highly recommend joining that, and as well as follow us on Steam, Twitter, Facebook. Upvote this video if you do have an account with Steam. See, Stefan, you know what? Thank you for asking that, because I do try to make a point to say it in the beginning of the video, but I completely forgot. And a lot of you guys know my name already. But my name is Jonas. I'll type it out for you guys. But if you've been watching any of my videos, especially on when I'm accessing Coinbase or GDAX, on the top right-hand side, my first name, last name is there. Like I said before, I definitely want there to be transparency. You guys are able to see my entry, my exit, how much money I have in my account. I'm not trying to hide anything from you guys at all. Especially you guys can see, the gains that I made, the losses that I've taken. Where I've seen a lot of traders really, talk about their trades, but they're really not showing their entries. They're not showing their profits and their losses. They might show their profits, but they're not going to be really showing their losses. But yeah, call me Jonas, especially if you guys are on this live stream on a day-to-day basis and, following me every time I schedule a live stream. Yeah, feel free to refer to me by my name, Jonas.
This is all for you, Daddy.
But yeah, thank you for the comments, Stephen. I do appreciate it. And I'm glad that, you're finding this helpful and that you love my work. That's awesome. That just, like seeing those words just really motivates me to keep doing these. And I wish I could do these every single day. When I first started live streaming, it was every single day, 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day. I mean, you can see the timestamp. And that was when I was having computer issues and microphone issues, and Google Hangout would cut out. So you'll see part 1 through part 6 live streams. And that's just, it's just basically me, or Google Hangout cutting out on me, and then me doing another live stream kind of back to back. But thank you, Dubai Review. I appreciate that. And thank you. And that's my goal, Stefan. It's basically to be honest with you guys and be straightforward. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or to manipulate anybody to taking a trade. I will never recommend anybody to take a trade that I'm taking. And especially if you want to follow my lead, you know, you got to be very cautious because I'm only human. I can make mistakes. You know, I can take a loss, but I don't want you guys to take a loss because I got into a trade and you decided to follow that trade. Definitely, you know, you got to do your own research. You got to do your own due diligence, and you know, following somebody else's trade is only going to get you in trouble in the long run. It's not going to help you have that fundamental, that discipline to stick with your plan and execute your plan. If you're just following someone's trades and that's all you're doing, it's not really going to teach you how to trade and how to really just, you know, be your own person, form your own thoughts, and come up with your own conclusion. And you know, I mean, I have my own conclusions on what something might do, but I could be completely wrong, and I've been wrong, but I've also been correct about some of the things. So, you know, it goes both ways. But yeah, dude, I'm glad, you know, that, you know, you like my honesty and that I'm straightforward with some of my answers. And if you guys do ask me a question and I have no clue what the answer is, I'm not going to sit here and BS it. I'm going to straight out tell you, like, dude, I have no clue. I don't know. I get a lot of questions about fundamentals, and I have no clue. You know, I look at the fundamentals on, you know, the top 10, but that's about it. I mean, there's 750 different cryptocurrencies. So you guys definitely know a lot more about, you know, the proof of work and the proof of stake and the ins and outs of some of these cryptocurrencies. In comparison to what I know. I know trading, I know charts. I can look at a chart and be able to form some sort of a well-educated thought on what it might do. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. I do appreciate it. So let's take a look and see what's going on. Unless you guys have more questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you. What is Ethereum doing? 260, it's not bad. You know, it's not crashing. I think that's a good level for it to maintain, to stay above it for a possible push to that 300 that I'm looking at. And I am looking to sell 5 at 300 out of the 20 that I have. Definitely want to lock in a profit. And I bought all these at 177, and I really had no intentions of keeping them. It was basically out of pure arbitrage. That's the only reason why I did it. And I've told the story about what happened with the 50 that I bought to arbitrage it from Bitfinex to Coinbase, where Coinbase just held it for too long. And the $1,500 profit that I was assuming that I was going to get if the transfer went through quickly, started really diminishing, getting to 1,000, getting to 500, and then I just kind of held on because I just thought it would do a lot better, and I'm glad I held on to it. But you know, I did sell. I sold about 230 at a higher profit, and then just kept some to see exactly what it would do, and it's gone up. So it definitely paid off to hold a little bit. But yeah, if I would have sold everything, I mean, I sold at increments. If I sold at 185, I sold at 200, I sold at 217. Yeah, the last amount that I sold was at 217 because those were the resistance, and that's exactly what they did. They hit the 185. I sold, it pulled back. I didn't add to it because it didn't pull back far enough, and then went up to the 200. I sold, and it pulled back. But those are orders that I had in the book, and they were basically executed when I was sleeping. Tracy, not a problem. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. But yeah, we'll take a look at just a couple of the popular cryptocurrencies, especially some of the trades that I'm in. And then I'm going to be ending this live stream. But yeah, still holding that 1750, which is perfect. And that's exactly what I wanted to see it do. As long as it holds it, as long as it consolidates, I'm excited. I'm happy. Yes, it didn't break out above the 20 that I would like to see it break out above. But, you know, this is a healthy level for it to be at. And it's not breaking down back to the 1650, which it has done after it really hitting 1750. You know, 1650 was really what it touched. It might have gone below 1650 a little bit. Let's see. Basically, the trend was for a while 1750 to about 15 bucks, a little over 15 bucks. But that was the trend that it played. But now it's really trending on the high end of that trend line, so which is pretty good. So it really shows me that, you know, that there is a bullish momentum. We are on a bullish side of this, and she could go parabolic, and she's done that before. You know, when I put the video out and said, you know what, and this is when I was buying it at $4 and $7. I said the pump is going to happen. It's going to happen. You can probably watch some of the videos where I do mention Ethereum and the pump, and that pump happened. So we can do it again. And when it did pump, it went up like close to 100%. It could easily do it again. And if she, you know, goes up 100% from here, you know, that's 35 bucks. So it's doable. It really is. And as long as it maintains this level, I think, you know, we'll be pretty healthy to get up to that $20 level. And if we have a crazy day where it just completely pumps and it does a 100% bagger, then yeah, those would be the levels that I'll be looking to sell. You know, to get out and then kind of regroup and use that capital to buy back in. Ripple 28, basically 2865, 0.2865. ZCASH still holding that 270 range. Dash, really, I mean, I'm surprised it hasn't really, broken out above the 175, 200. A lot of people are calling for it to really get up to that level, but I don't see it. I really don't. Digibyte. Yeah, I did talk about it, and you know what? I will cover that for you before I get off this live stream. Yeah, Litecoin is definitely lagging. I mean, even though it's up 1.27, it's still lagging in comparison to Ethereum and Bitcoin. So yeah, so we need more mainstream news to come out on Litecoin, and hopefully get people to FOMO and be like, oh, it's only 29 bucks compared to Ethereum, compared to Bitcoin, and people are talking about it. Let me go ahead and put some money into it, and that's really what's going to cause a nice parabolic move to the upside. All right, back to Bittrex. We'll take a look at Digibyte, and then if you guys have a couple extra questions, I will answer those, and then I'll be back on Friday. Tracy, have a great evening, great day. Let's see what you're saying. The ranch after a week of rain. If you guys got a week of rain, yeah, that's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of flooding that might be happening, or cause the grass to grow. You got to mow the ranch. But yeah, enjoy your day. Thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. And you've definitely become a regular, commenting and joining the live stream. So thank you so much. What was it? Digibyte. DGB, I think the symbol is. Same thing as all the other cryptocurrencies or all the other altcoins. They're all flagging. All flagging. Yeah, too bad I can't draw out some trend lines on this. Let's see what the volume looks like. Probably more on the buying side than the selling. So 360 million DGB coins on the buy side. Versus 101 million, 102 million on the sell side. So there's definitely a lot of coins that are being exchanged, and it's good that the buying outweighs the selling by a good amount too. 3 times the amount, just about. But yeah, as long as you didn't buy at the top, it might be safe to kind of look for an entry. And it all depends how aggressive you want to be with your entry. If you're looking to get in this, if you really wanted to be aggressive, you would definitely play. Not the current support that it's at, but I mean, I would say the second area of support somewhere in the range of 1650-ish. But if I was to look at getting in this, I would definitely try to pay attention to a lower level of possibly the 1400 level, anywhere between 1400 and 1200, to see if it pulls back to those areas. It might not pull back to those areas, but that's where your profit margin is going to be a little better if you get in at that level, instead of getting in at the current possible resistance or support, current support around the 1600, 1650 range, because 3 times, it kind of got close to that level. Might have breached through that level just a little bit, but came right back up. Yeah, so if you wanted to be aggressive, I would say, see if it pulls back to that 1650 range. If it pulls back further and you want to kind of play it safe, the really previous high, kind of ran up, pulled back just a little bit, didn't pull back too much. So I would be basically looking at this high here at this candlestick. And that was right around 14.19. So I would just say, 14.25, 14.50 to play it safe, to get some sort of entry in. So, but if it breaks that level there, then yeah, it's going to be really the bottom of this consolidation. So it could be the 1200 range. Yeah, but I mean, all these charts, they all look the same. They're all flagging, and anything could really happen, especially if BTC decides to tank. What do you think people are going to do? They're going to basically pull money out of BTC and try to put it into some of these alts that they've been following, and they've been, looking at the trend. And so, out of 750 different cryptocurrencies, they're going to pick a couple to put their funds into as BTC's tanking, in hopes that, they go up. And if it's a coordinated attack between a bunch of trading rooms and they're all going to pile in or pile out of BTC and get into, one of the alts that they all decide to get on to, yeah, you could have a crazy, crazy pump to the upside. But you just got to be careful and not chase it. But yeah, all these charts, they all look the same. So one of them, a handful of them are going to pop to the upside, but some of them might not pop, and they might just kind of dwindle down. Because, what do you think is going to happen? Let's just say, hypothetically, BTC tanks, and people are pulling money out of BTC and piling up into DigiByte. DigiByte's going to go up. And if somebody sees that DigiByte is going up and they're in a different alt that's flagging, doing this exact same thing, but it hasn't had that upside tick or going parabolic, they might sell out of that alt and pile into DigiByte. And the more people that are piling into DigiByte, the higher the price is going to go. But all right, I'm going to get to some of these questions, and then I will be ending the live stream. So if you have any questions, please let me know. So for the next about 10 to 15 minutes, I'll just be looking at the questions and answering the questions for you guys. Tracy, I like that. I'll give you guys the data, what I'm seeing, and yeah, make your own decisions. Do your own diligence based on what I say. And thank you. Yeah, never really blame anybody. If you end up taking a loss, yeah, you're the person. Whoever really placed that trade, I mean, you have to blame yourself. There has to be some sort of blame, and that blame should be on you and not somebody else who told you to buy it. But yeah, I do these videos, so I have kind of an outlet, something to talk about. Things that are on my mind, and I'm glad that you guys are joining and listening in. But yeah, just take what I say, especially on these support and resistance, with a grain of salt. Unless I'm getting into a trade, and then I'm going to be very thorough with it. If I'm basically getting onto a trade on a live stream, I'm looking at a bunch of things to kind of determine if my probabilities is high. And in my first couple of videos, I've done that, where Logan's Run and I would basically analyze that order book and look at to see those executions and the manipulation and how things are going. DJ, not a problem, man. Not a problem at all. Yeah, if you guys have any recommendations of what cryptocurrency you want me to take a look at, I have no issues at all. I really can't tell you about the fundamentals of it, but I can tell you about the charting and what the chart is really telling me. So DGB has an announcement with Citibank tomorrow. Yeah, I'm curious to see what that announcement is going to be. Probably some sort of partnership. One thing I would be very careful about too is, there's a lot of fake news that comes out. I mean, to put out an announcement about an announcement, they might be fluffing the news a little bit. And I've seen that happen with the stock market. It's like they put out a press release to talk about, a press release that's going to be coming out, and it's like, really? You're just going to fluff it up until that press release comes out, and that press release might not be good. So basically, people are buying the hype. People are basically, buying the rumor. And then they're going to sell the news because that news is not going to be good. So we'll see. Maybe that was their plan, was to hype it up, indicating that there's going to be an announcement tomorrow with Citibank, and that announcement is not going to be good at all. I think if that announcement was going to be good, they probably wouldn't announce it at all. They would be probably looking to get in and tell all their friends and families to start buying because the news is going to be good. So I'm a little leery about them making an announcement that there's going to be news tomorrow in regards to Citibank. Yeah, flagging is it's a bullish signal. Strong, Yeah, yes or no. You know, I mean, you really got to look at other variables to determine if that's a strong bullish signal. It's an indicator. It's an indicator that could definitely possibly prove your theory right on the probabilities of other things really working out together in the sense of the order book, the trades that are coming through, you know, who's sitting at what level. There's a lot of things you really got to consider, but it's somewhat of a strong indicator. But like I said, take it with a grain of salt, though. You can't play all patterns that you see. You can't play all cup and handles. You know, some cup and handles, yes, there's profit to be made, you know, off of that handle. You know, just like you can't play every you know, head and shoulder, every inverted head and shoulder. But the probabilities of it doing what it does is very likely. But there's also that probability that it's not. Yeah, I'll definitely have to keep an eye out on DGB and see exactly what it does. I'll definitely keep an eye out on that, especially with news on the 10th, and then, you know, whatever's going to happen with Citibank. What do I think about the huge sell wall on waves? At what price point? Yeah, and I mean, I've mentioned, you know, fake walls and real walls and how to kind of determine the fake wall and real wall. But yeah, let me know what price point just so I can kind of look at it. But, you know, there are going to be fake walls that are going to be put up. And more than likely, the fake walls are below the actual price at that current time. You know, if it's a real wall, they're not going to put it up, you know, let's just say it's a fake wall. They're not going to put it up that close to the price because there's a possibility of it executing, and they don't want it to execute. That's why it's called a fake wall. So you got to be very leery about how far apart is this big wall put in place. Is it pretty far down from the actual price? Yes, that could be a fake wall. Is it pretty close to the execution price? Yes, that could be a real wall. Yeah, it could be a real wall. So it all depends on where that price is put on. But I'm looking at the sell, so let's just kind of scroll through and see if I see anything that's alarming. 12,000, I really wouldn't consider that a big wall. And I'm looking at the sell side. And I'm looking at Bittrex, so it could be different depending on what exchange you're using. So definitely keep that in mind. Just because there's a big wall on Bittrex doesn't necessarily mean there's a big wall on Poloniex. But on Bittrex, I really don't see anything. Nothing that's going to draw an alarm. I mean, 6,324 wave coins at, what was that price point? At 0.002 that they're looking to sell. I mean, that's a very high price that they put on that. But yeah, if it's you know, definitely just you know, take it with a grain of salt when that wall goes up. If it's a real wall, fake wall, keep an eye on it. You know, if they're continuously changing it, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, you know, it might indicate that it's just a fake wall. They might have a another motive. They might have a bigger price that they want to sell at, and they want the price to move up, or they want the price to move down so they can actually have something executed. So currently right now, I do not see a big sell wall on waves. Unless you're looking at Poloniex. Actually, I don't think they're listed on Poloniex. I think I already tried looking at that. No, they're not on Polo. So if you are looking at it on Bittrex, yeah, I don't see that wall that you're mentioning. I think I got all the questions. If I missed any, let me know. I got about a couple more minutes, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. And I'm surprised YouTube hasn't really cut out this live stream, considering I said it was going to go from 9:30 to 11:30. I thought at 11:30 they would cut it. You know, one thing too I'll mention, keep an eye out on Bitcoin Dark. You know, I've been looking at Bitcoin Dark for a while now, and if you guys can get Bitcoin Dark at under 0.01, You know, I mean, it's an easy 60 to 70%, 80% profit. And I've seen this thing do it numerous times, really, but not at this level, though. But if you guys can wait for a dip on Bitcoin Dark, because I think what a lot of people are doing is, you know, they are taking, considering you can switch your Bitcoin Dark tokens to Komodo. So I don't know what the price of Komodo is right now, but a lot of people at one point were basically buying Bitcoin Dark and then basically converting them over. I think it was a conversion of 50 to 1. You got 50 Komodo coins for 1 Bitcoin Dark. So that's definitely what drove the price up. But I've seen this thing kind of dip to, you know, below 0.01 and then kind of make it right back up. So to get 80%, 50% profit is not bad at all. But I do keep an eye out on Bitcoin Dark. Yeah, Tracy, 150% profit. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Yeah, and I'm trying to think, you know, how I would play it. I wouldn't sell everything because really, I mean, we don't know what List is going to do. But I would definitely lock in some profit. You know, maybe a third, maybe a quarter, and be happy with those profits. And then if it does dip, you have those profits plus the capital that you took to buy back in at hopefully a cheaper price than you previously bought in. But that's the best way of playing it. I mean, if you sell everything at once, yes, it's a nice profit. It's $150 profit, 150%. But it could go a little bit higher, and then you're missing out a bigger slice of the pie. So I would lock in some of the profit as it goes up. Keep locking in the profits. That's the best thing to do. It's $2.50. Is that the price of List right now in USD? Steam, man, DJ, Steam. It's broken all barriers. It's being pumped. I just don't know when the dump's going to happen. Let's look at volume because Steam should have been up there in volume. Yeah. Basically top 5 in volume. 85,000 Satoshis. Man, I wish I still had it when I bought it at 20,000. Who knows what Steam is going to do, man? Who knows? Jerry Banfield is definitely pumping Steam. He's pumping it hardcore. And I think he could probably get it to the level that he's looking at. You know, he's got a lot of followers. And I think what he's looking for $10, I think. Yeah, what do you think he's gonna do at $10 though? He's gonna dump it. Gotcha. Okay, so you bought at 1. It's $2.50. Okay. Yeah, it's a huge profit. Huge profit. So I didn't know if you had a plan of execution once you got into the trade. And if that's something you hadn't really thought of, definitely, you know, have a plan of execution. Get into that trade. After that's really risk management. You managing that risk based on the probability of you being proven correct, or you're going to be proven wrong. But yeah, to be up, you know, 150%, that's huge. That is huge. But yeah, you know, be happy with locking in profits. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with leaving money on the table. But at least, you know, if you lock in some of the coins at a profit, you still have some for the possibility of it going up higher, and then you can lock in more of a profit later on. And I find tons of something, and then, you know, it goes up. It's a nice profit. I sell it, and I'm happy with the profit. And then I see it just going up and up and up, and I'm like, whoa, that could have been a $2,000, $3,000 more of a profit that I could have made if I had held on. But then I would be kind of, you know, breaking my rules. So I want to stick to those rules so that I'm very consistent over the long period of time, so that that account really grows and not really stray off those rules that I have set for myself. And it does happen. I do break those rules. But then I kind of changed my game plan a little bit and stopped selling everything at once and just said, you know what, I'm going to start selling in increments. I'm happy with the profit. Yes, it could be a higher profit if I sell everything at once, but I don't know what it's going to do. It could go up higher, and then I'll be leaving, you know, money on the table, and I'll be leaving a lot of money on the table. So by locking in profits of a quarter, a third, whatever percentage that you're comfortable with selling, and being happy with that, and if it goes up, locking in a little bit more of the profit, and if it does dip, you know what, you locked in some of the profit, and now you have some of the profit and some of the capital to basically reinvest it or retrade it back in at a lower price point if it does decide to crash. So in my opinion, I'm a big fan of locking in profits as it's going up. I would rather lock in profits as it's going up than to try and lock in profits on the way down. That's going to be harder, because then, you know, the crowd is going to be right where you are. You know, people are not going to be buying; they're going to be selling. So you might be stuck trying to sell and the price just might be dipping, you can't sell at all. But when it's going up, you're able to sell because people want to buy. They're buying into that FOMO. They're buying into that hype. And that's what I like selling into. I like selling into the hype and just locking in those profits. If I try to sell on a dip, yeah, I might not get out. And then I'm going to kick myself and be like, man, I could have got out at this price, but I didn't get out because I broke my rule. And now I'm trying to get out on a downtrend and I just can't get out because the price is just breaking below what I want to sell. And I got to keep lowering my price. And by then you lost a lot of your capital, or a lot of your profit actually. So yeah, I'm glad you found that advice helpful. I have a lot of good little advices like that here and there. I should really jot all of them down. But periodically I do go back and kind of watch some of my videos and I'm like, oh man, I did talk about that a long time ago. That's a pretty good strategy and I forgot about it. Yeah, I think Jerry Banfield's pumping too. He's pumping. He's pumping steam. And I mean, like I said, he's got a good amount of followers. So, you know, they might take his advice to heart, but his motives could be completely different. So, I mean, you know, I've watched a couple of his videos and I take what he says with a grain of salt. He's very entertaining. But yeah, I try not to really, you know, follow somebody's advice because they're pumping something. They're pumping it for their motives. I mean, he could have gotten dirt cheap. He could have gotten probably, you know, 14,000 or 12,000 Satoshis. You know, that was probably his entry. And now he's trying to pump it to that $10 where, you know, he's making a huge profit. If that is the case, if that is his motive. All right, I got about 3 more minutes on this live stream. So, but thank you for joining. I know this was supposed to end at 11:30. I don't know if some people hopped off thinking it ended. But yeah, but I enjoy doing these live streams, and I mean, the time kind of flies by. You know, before I knew it, it was like, oh, it's 12 o'clock already. So I would definitely like to keep this going, but I got kids that need some sort of attention. Yes, Dylan, thank you so much for putting that out. Yeah, please sign up. Click on that link, you know, or just go to CryptoTradersRoom.com, www if you'd like, and highly recommend signing up for our mailing list and just to be able to get access to that free general chat room. You know, I don't know anybody that's offering a free chat room for you guys to be able to converse and bounce ideas off each other. It's a queeb, yeah. Yeah, good joke, huh? But yeah, you know, like I said before, it doesn't matter who it is. Be a little leery, you know. I mean, just think outside the box of what their motive might be for pumping something. And, you know, and if they're known to be pumping different coins on a monthly basis, then yeah, you know, they're buying in cheap and pumping it. Any of us can really do that. You know, you're misleading a lot of people, and you know that's not my game plan. I don't want to mislead anybody at all. So I will never tell you guys to buy something because I think it's going to go to this amount. You know, I'll just say, hey, you know what, this is based on what I see. This is what I would possibly do. But I would never say, hey, you need to buy this because this is going to the moon. And I've had a lot of people tell me to buy something, and I'm like, well, why would I buy it? Like, give me some compelling reason as to why I should buy it. Like, give me some facts. Give me some factual information. You can definitely pump something by providing factual information. You know, there's a good way of pumping something and a bad way of pumping something. And I'm all about providing factual information. And if that causes, you know, the cryptocurrency that I'm talking about to be pumped because I'm providing accurate, factual, you know, information on a timely manner and not really generating old news from a year or 2 years ago to try to pump it, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, it's really based on the information that you put out on the way that you want to pump it. There's a wrong way and a right way. And as long as it's being done the right way, you know, I have no problems with it. But yeah, provide me some facts as to why I should buy something. I mean, I've had some great recommendations. Yes. Somebody told me to buy Stratus. And I was like, give me a reason why I should buy Stratus. I didn't buy it, but what do you know? You know, Stratus went up. But it could have also gone down. So, you know, I need to know why I should be looking at buying something. And I mean, even in the chat room, you know, I mean, if you're looking at a currency, I mean, indicate why you think it's a good buy. Is it forming a cup and handle? Is it forming an inverted head and shoulder on a 15-minute chart, on a 1-day time frame, whatever it might be? And then we can kind of take a look at it and say, wow, you know what? That's a great recommendation. Yeah, it is forming that inverted head and shoulder. And we've seen the probabilities on an inverted head and shoulder that it has a nice uptick. Or, hey, you know what? You might want to get out of this trade if you're already in it because it's forming a head and shoulder on the 1 hour, 3-day candlestick. And we all know that, you know, majority of the time, head and shoulders can cause a dip. But yeah, I guess no questions, and it's 1 o'clock. So I definitely want to thank everybody for joining. If you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification. And Dylan provided a link. Dylan, thank you so much to our website. And there are links at the bottom of this video, so you're more than welcome to do that, or just go to CryptoTradersRoom.com, sign up for that mailing list, get the free access to our general chat room, and periodically you will see me on that chat room, and I would love to converse with you guys outside of YouTube, and just to be able to have that open platform that's open 24/7. And if you're on Steemit, help us by upvoting this video once it gets uploaded. And if you're on Twitter and Facebook, definitely follow us there, and help spread the news. I mean, share this with your friends, share this with anybody that's in the cryptocurrency world, or that's wants to get involved and they just kind of want to get some basic knowledge. And I mean, I'd be happy to provide that on this live stream. So thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. I want you guys to have a great day. Definitely, make sure you play this support and resistance. If you're just day trading, if you're long trading, make sure you look at the fundamentals as well as the development team, and have a great day and just protect those profits. Until Wednesday, this is Crypto Trader, aka Jonas. I will talk to you guys on Friday. Thank you so much for joining.